Now the sun gone down, lights in the distance, a forgotten town. Now I'm on my way, oh I'm on my way. So stand on the edge of the world with me.
Okay.
Hello everyone and welcome to tonight's stream. My name's Robert Hazeldine from Doadrift Esports, and I'll hand you over now to our commentary team, Zach Caban and Nico Pop.
Thank you, Rob. Welcome to another night at the Gentlemen's Racing Club. It's Friday night. We got lots of racing on for you. My name is Nico Pop, and I'm going to introduce you to Zach.
Good evening, Nick. Hi, everybody. Good to be back with you on a Friday night. Massive weekend for the Gentlemen's Sim Racing Club on Doadrift Esports, but we'll get to that as the night goes on. And tonight, we've had a lot of double headers over the last 7 or 8 weeks, of course, with the production cars leading into the stock cars. Tonight, it's an Aussie double header. We've got production car racing from the now closed, very sadly, RIP, Oran Park Raceway in Sydney. And then stock cars from just down the road at Phillip Island in Victoria. And of course, Phillip Island in the news this afternoon with regards to MotoGP. More on that a little bit later as well. But the good news is it's four-wheel motorsport. It's on the same continent, and 2 championships that are very well poised over the next 3 or 4 hours.
Yeah, it's going to be a hell of a lot of fun. And news just in tonight, I've got no teammates representing my team in the stock car, so I'm going to do double duty tonight.
So double duty.
It's going to be a long night.
Well, actually, that makes it quadruple duty, doesn't it? Because you're commentating in both and racing in both.
Well, yeah, you could look at it that way. I don't particularly want to look at it that way because I just get tired thinking about it. But it's going to be fun. I'll be driving 2 lots of Mustangs, 2 completely different cars. But my focus tonight is, or the first focus tonight is this All Certs production car series, brought to you by LJ Hooker Gaindar and Central Coast Subaru. We're running the Mustang FR 500S, which is basically a 2013, 2014 Mustang.
Yep.
With some racing tires on it, basically. So it's going to be fun.
That's why one of these cars I'm just having a look at. I'm not seeing the same stream you are at the moment, folks, but one of the cars, and I'll try and pick up at a number in a moment. Josh Millard has just had a monumental shut in qualifying. Now, we should explain. So it's a qualifying session. It's a lone qualifying session. A format that worked okay on Monday night for the GT series. And I say okay, advisedly. But the good thing is, as Rob sends me through a live stream feed now, thankfully, the for the fact that we're at Oran Park, for the fact that it's a tight little tricky 2.2 kilometre circuit, a lot of these guys are appreciating the decision by race stewards to give them clear traffic, a clear run, 3-lap line qualifying session. It's just a 10-minute window, and then we get stuck into a 45-minute race. And we have had a mix of 40 and 45-minute races, but I think being Oran Park, 45 minutes is a good number.
Yeah, we're doing, looks like practice times are in the 12s and 13s. So, and if we have a clamp down all safety car, that'll blow it out. So, should be about 30 to 35 laps, depending. So, we'll see how this all works out. Indeed,
we will. So, pictures coming in from Oran Park. Ben Snellivision, Benny Snell, they're on your screen at the moment. 1:12.67, his fastest time in practice. Let's see what he can lodge in qualifying. In fact, for those of you just joining us, of course, we weren't with you for practice. We never usually are. The fact of the matter is that Michael Hammertime Hammond had the top time in the practice session with a 1:12.781, narrowly faster than Cohen Attard, 1:12.84. They were the and actually, sorry, I apologise. My leaderboard is all over the shop here. Benny Snell was actually slightly faster than everyone, but he's got it all crossed up at turn 1 there and turn 2 in his 3-lap qualifying run here, and mucked up this lap. So it's not going to plan for Snell at the moment. 1:12.67 was his time in practice. 1:12.77 for Nick in second. 1:12.78 for Hammer Time in third, and 1:12.8 for Nick. For Cohen Attard in fourth. So the top 4 there, very evenly poised. You must be happy with your early pace, Nick. I know you're looking forward to putting some numbers down for qualifying. But the qualifying pace is slightly faster than that. A 12.5 for Hammond, a 12.5 for Gazza there in the 58 in second spot at the moment, and then Cohen Attard at 12.8. So Cohen Attard, again, marginally faster than qualifying, but Hammer's got 2/10 on what he had earlier on in practice.
Yeah, Mikey knows when to bust out 100%, so he's doing a good job.
He's certainly the king of quality, isn't he?
He certainly is. Paul, good evening to you, mate. Line qualifying was something that you decided. It was a concept that worked okay for the GT boys on Monday night, and it seems to be sorting the men from the boys out here.
Yeah, I just think with a short track like this, and you have a lot of cars on track, and it's just easier, I think, sometimes. iRacing do lone qualifying, so let's keep it the same for these short tracks. I think open qualifying for the longer tracks is kind of suited to that. So, yeah, I mean, Mikey's done a great job. I had an off track on my fast lap, but that's okay.
Yep. Where have you slotted into all of that? Down in P10. Oh, no, Snelly's gone round again. As you see it there on your screen, he's gone round again. And that will be the end of his qualifying run, I think. So he had an off track in every single run in his 3-lap lone qualifying session. So he'll be starting down at the bottom of the order. And you've elected to burn from the stern as well, Nick.
As always.
It's a concept that's worked well for you so far.
Yeah, well, look, I like to let the craziness happen. We know turn 1, 2, and 3 are going to be stupid here, and probably through the S's. Actually, no, the whole track's just going to be crazy for the first lap. So it's worked well for me. I did it last night on my F3 race at Watkins Glen, and it paid off well. So let's just keep doing it. It's a good formula.
Indeed it is. Let's have a look at it.
Just quickly, little known facts about these cars. The cars that we have on screen at the moment are the second best cars in the entire world. Of course, the first best being the 2017 Mustang, of course.
Yeah, I was waiting to see how long it'd take you to get that into the broadcast.
And I've been zipping around since Wednesday after my tune, feeling like I'm running one of these cars. Fantastic.
Okay. Let me
back
just
to you, Zach. Back to you.
Thank you, because I need to quickly run through a little bit of housekeeping here before we get underway and start pumping up the tyres of Mustang owners around the country. Michael Hammond on top of the championship at the moment. 280 plays Shane Witt 254 and Dave Farrelly 234. And then Michael Porter on 190 and Josh Millard on 186. Jared Daly 182, so too Chris Polly, Cohen Attard 166, Paul Nichols 160, and Nico Pop there on 158. They're the top 10 in the championship point standings at the moment. We bring you the grid from Oran Park. There they are lining up now, getting set for a go. Michael Hammond and Gazza on the front row, Cohen Adard, Shane with the second row, Craig Russell and Simon Ferris the third row. Watch for the boys burning from the stern. Oran Park, one of our favourite venues in Australian motorsport, no longer with us, and we're ready to go. Set. Production car racing in the All Certs Championship. We're green on a Friday night. Michael Hammond, a brilliant start. Leads the field cleanly down the front, straight down the hill to the first corner. He'll flick it to the left into turn one across our curb cam. Everybody safely through, just as they hit turn two and go under the bridge for the first time. Great start. Hammond got the jump. And he's already got out to about 5 car lengths on the rest of the pack. You follow him down to turn 4 and 5 for the first time. The right through 4, the kick to the right that takes you up the hill over the bridge for the first time. We have such fond memories of this circuit. It's great that its legacy lives on in iRacing land. The All Certs production cars. Friday night, there's some good news regarding the All Certs production car series as well, which will bring you at the back end of the broadcast. We were looking forward to a finale last week. Not the case. We're going to extend the championship. More on that a little bit later as they head over the hill for the first time, down to turn 12 and back onto the main straight. Hammond clearly in front. Got the jump. Everybody safely away. Nick and Paul have jumped well. We'll check in with our in-race commentators reporters in just a moment as they go across the line for the first time. Cohen Haddard, the big mover on lap one up to second. Craig Russell's moved up into fourth spot. Shane with Simon Ferris. Then Jared Daly, Xander Antonov. Then Paul Nichols sits there ninth. Pete Dunham is 10th. Nick's going all right, burning from the stern, following Ben Snell through. Farrelly 11th, Snell 12th. Nick in 13th. Then you go back to Michael Porter. So they head through. Turn 3 one more time. 45-minute race this one. There will be a pit window. There will most likely be a clampdown or a safety car thrown at some point as well, just to bunch the field up and make it a little bit more interesting for us. Not that the racing needs that, of course. The racing's been terrific so far in the championship, but it does add a little bit of an amphitheatre to it as they head through the back section of the circuit for the second time. Over the rise, down the hill, big crowd gathering in on the right-hand side. Of course, Oran Park never one to fall victim to the social distancing rules of the 2020 era as they cross the line and complete lap number 2 here. The 45 minutes, of course, we're expecting, well, a minute and a quarter a lap, potentially. The lap time range here, so do the maths on that one, folks. Should get up in excess of 30 laps this evening across the 45 minutes. Cohen Haddard sitting second at the moment. Gaz is sitting third in the 58. Then, of course, behind him, Craig Russell, Shane Witt, Simon Ferris, then Jared Daly. Then Xander Antonov's jumped up into 8th spot, still ahead of Paul Nichols. Got a little bit of a gap on Paul as well. Pete Dunham sits there in 10th. Let's check in with, let's go to Paul first, sitting 9th at the moment. A little bit of pressure on you, Paul, because you got young Xander setting the pace ahead of you. And just behind you, as we see you come up on our screen now, is Pete Dunham giving you a hurry up as well.
That's why I've got the very shiny livery, so I can kind of scare them off with a bit of reflection.
Yes, nothing wrong with that. Oran Park, mate, always a favourite, and I know you are quite fond of having this one on the schedule.
Yeah, absolutely. I've driven around here in real life, so I really miss the place. It's such an awesome track.
Yeah,
Very
so
technical.
many. Absolutely, it is very technical, very hard to pass as well. The main straight, turn 1, turn 2, that's probably your best bet. Turn 3 is an okay option, and turn 12 as well, but there's not much else going for it. Nick, let's check it. Sorry, Paul, go on.
I think I'm more relying on other people making mistakes.
True, that's
just hang
fair.
out the back here and, have fun.
It can happen. Xander just ahead of you there grabbed a hell of a lot of curb going through turn 4 up over the hill. So, and just behind you there is Benny Snell just grabbing all the grass on the way off the bridge as well. Nick, let's check in with you because you're following Ben Snell through at the moment, sitting 12th, burning from the stern. It's going okay so far.
Yeah, it's going okay so far. Just trying to get some runs through the flip-flop here. Oh, do I have him? No, I don't, do I? Yes.
Down the inside.
Nope.
Good move. Job done. Ran it a little bit wide. He's coming back up there on your inside, but I think you got it done. Nicely done. Across the line. And I say that because we're looking at Pete Dunham, actually the number 12. He's come unstuck on the exit of, he's come unstuck on the exit of turn 12 there. So pressure's off. It's just you and also Laser Dave Farrelly now set to jockey for that position 10 and 11. So you've got yourself into the top 10, mate. Nicely done. Jared Daly's sitting 6th at the moment. Sorry, Nick, go on.
No, that's the aim of the game, just to keep moving forward.
Indeed. Now, Paul sent me some race notes here, some important race notes before we got underway. Lap times again, 1 minute 13, 1 minute 14 range. The fuel burn is about 0.9 of a litre per lap, so very economical, these cars. And tyres
race
in the
car.
pit stop, yeah, well, that's right, for a race, yes. Tyres in this pit stop will be optional, and there are 2 fast repairs and 20 incident points for the stop and hold penalties. So keep an eye out for all of that. Everyone looks to have behaved themselves pretty well thus far. The big mover in all of this is, so far there's a couple of big movers. Benny Snell up to 9th from 15th. Nick from 16th up into 10th. Laser Dave Farrelly from 17th into 11th. The big mover, just one position more than you guys, is Josh Thomas from 19th up into 12th. So he's moved nicely. Shane Witt's lost out at the start. He's down in 16th. Michael Porter down in 17th from 8th. And Houston Trin down in 18th after starting 9th.
I think Shane did an engine.
That'll do it. Lunched an engine early on. Thank God for the fast repair, eh?
Yep.
Xander Antonev hugs the ripple strip again on the exit of turn 4. He's been doing that a bit tonight. He's trying to give Jared Daly the hurry up here, and just ahead of them, Simon Ferris, of course. So Xander's all over the back of Jared Daly. Just ahead of them is what we're watching at the moment here, folks. The battle between Craig Russell, Simon Ferris, and I think Jared Daly behind them. Round onto the main straight. Across the start-finish line, another lap in the books. Colin Adard 2nd. Gazza is 3rd. Craig Russell is 4th. 3.9 already the margin, 1st to 2nd. Michael Hammond back to the rest of the pack. And now we pick up this ongoing battle between Xander Antonev and Jared Daly. Have a look at Curb Cam doing its finest. Oh, Xander had a look up on the inside. Couldn't get the job done on Jared Daly just for the moment. How good's this? Ford Mustangs 19 took the start. No Chris Polly, no Brett Hewlett. At the start here, Xander Antonev up on the inside, trying to force his way through on Jared Daly. Gave him a little love tap and tucked back in. Job not done just yet for the youngster who won a couple of weeks ago when we were at Alton Park. Cohen Adard, of course, did a wonderful job last Friday night. Xander Antonev has been turned around. He's been served up by our mate Paul Nichols. What have you done, Nico?
He actually started that himself, mate. You have a look at the replay. He actually started that himself, and I was just trying to lay off him. But yeah, I won't take the hit for that one.
All right, fair enough. Well, I only caught the tail end of that. I saw him going, and then I saw you nudge him on the way through, obviously trying to avoid him. So that's all good and well. But that means that Xander Antonev now has a bit of work to do on the way back through. You saw it here live, folks. Of course, Paul doubles up because not only does he race here on a Friday night, but he'll also go back into the steward's room after the fact and have a look at all the footage replay, and if there were any penalties that weren't applied during the race that need to be applied post-race, Paul will be in charge of all of that. There'll be no bias either.
Yeah, I won't rely on my own stuff, though. The other guys look at that, so...
Yep. Now, just having a look here, down on your inside, actually. Yes, Benny Snell trying to force the issue, going 2x2 over the bridge. Are you kidding me? Oh, Paul's been served up this time round. 2x2 through the bridge. That was never going to work. Dear, oh dear. So Nico's now losing a couple of spots there in all of that. And Ben Snell moves through into position number 7. There'll be some penalty points being applied after the last couple of laps, let me assure you. Just to go back and have a look at Xander Antonioff's incident, he's dropped back down to the 12th in the running order. He started 11th. He's now going to be trying to put the pressure on the likes of Josh Thomas and Dave Farrelly if he's to get back in this race, but he's still 5 seconds away off getting onto the tail of Thomas. We go back to the front here. Have a look at this ongoing battle, folks. This is Cohen Attard. This is Gazza, of course, the 58, and Craig Russell, the 52. A three-way fight for second here. 9 minutes 50 on the board at the completion of the last lap. Michael Hammond in complete control, 4.7 seconds to Cohen Attard. This is that battle. Second, third, and fourth. You're watching over the bridge now into the infield section of the circuit, or the outfield section of the circuit, 7, 8, 9. And it feels like the infield because obviously you look at the start finish straight, but there is no real infield section at Oran Park. That's more Wakefield Park, if I'm honest, as they make their way over the rise, down through the dogleg, down into turn number 12 one more time. Hammond in complete control here. Chris Kisby down 1 lap at the moment, so too Shane Witt, same to Houston Trin. I'll spit my words out eventually. Michael Porter, the last of the runners on the lead lap at the moment, he sits 16th. And this ongoing battle, second, third, and fourth. Blinken, you'll make a mistake here, folks. These guys are hammer and tong sort of stuff right here, right now. Oh, sideways for Attard on the exit of turn 2. Didn't lose enough speed there to give Gazza the opportunity to sneak up through on the inside. And Craig Russell in behind them waiting for his moment. Lap traffic already becoming a factor here. 45-minute race, of course. We're past the 11.5-minute mark, so we're about quarter race distance here right now, folks.
Up in the pits, I'm going to fuel up and hopefully get home.
Okay, interesting strategy by Paul there. Paul Nichols, our in-race reporter. Was that a change of strategy brought about because of the incident with Benny Snell?
Partly, but yeah, I just got an idea, that's all.
Okay. Nothing like an experiment on a Friday night. I like the sound of that. Michael Hammond continues to lead. This is the battle we're watching for second at the moment. And they continue to lose a little bit of time to him each lap. It was 4.5, it's now 4.9. How good are our trackside cameras at Oran Park, ladies and gentlemen? As they head down into turn 1 and 2. Oh, sideways. Taylor got it on the dust. Did Cohen Attard there on the slide into turn 2. But again, not losing any time to Cohen Attard. Sorry, to Gazza or Craig Russell in behind him, of course. It was Attard that had the moment. Simon Ferris 5th, Ben Snell 6th, Joe Daly Nicks there in 8th. Then Laser Dave Farrell, Xander Antonioff back up inside the top 10 now. Josh Millard, Pete Dunham. Then Michael Porter and our good mate Nico sitting down there in 14th. Luke Keamy 15th, and then Josh Thomas 16th. They're the cars still in the lead lap here at Oran Park on a Friday night. Our Friday night motorsport doubleheader is an Australian theme tonight because we've got the Mustangs from Oran Park. It's to be fair, it's an Australian theme with an American twist. We've got the Mustangs at Oran Park, and then we've got the stock cars from good old Phillip Island. And of course, there's already been some stock car racing run this week with the NASCAR Cup in action this morning, actually last night American time at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. So plenty of motorsport happening right around the world, not just virtually. It's good to see. Now down here on the inside, Simon Ferris putting a move on. I'm just trying to pick up if that's lap traffic. I think it is. Oh, off the circuit, gathered it up. I have no idea how. That's insane. These two are side by side. The ongoing battle. And somehow, I can't tell you how, but somehow, after smashing the gravel on the outside of turn 1, No one lost any positions in all of that. Extraordinary. Hey, Nick, give us an in-race update from you, mate. You've been fairly quiet thus far, and you're moving away along nicely in 8th spot now.
A lap traffic car got in front of me just as I was about to go on the bridge, and I came to a complete stop, and now my steering's bent. So I'm going to do a Paul Nichols and pit now.
Yep.
So I will drop from 8th because I did come to a complete stop. I had a bit of a gap behind me, so I was, I'm not happy about that now. I lost 10 seconds to the guys in front, so I was only about 2 seconds behind them. So looks like I'm pitting.
Fair enough.
Get my fast repair and get some fuel.
May as well at this point in time. Nothing to lose, and of course you'll get that time you lose in the pit stop now back when the field gets bunched up partway through this race, whenever that may be.
I hope so. I do hope so.
Yes. Now, just having a look again here. This is the this ongoing battle here that you're looking at. Turn 4, 5, and up over the bridge to 6. Just on the back of that, I believe we've got the 315 on your screen there. So that's Simon Ferris, Jared Daly, and I think Dave Farrelly in behind them. And again, our lap order updating lap in, lap out here. So if we get something a little bit mixed up, it's only because we don't have timing sectors feeding through to us around the circuit. Now, have a look at this, folks. This ongoing battle for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Cohen Haddad 2nd. Rusty Russell and Gaz are side by side, and Russell's gone round the outside to 3rd, down the main straight. So Michael Hammond leads this race in the 007. He's 6 seconds clear of Haddad, Russell, Gazza, Snellivision, Benny Snell. He runs 5th at the moment, but the battle for 2nd has been a 3-way fight pretty much from the outset. Through turn 4. The kink right at 5, up over the bridge. The exit of the bridge gives you turn 6. We're on board with the 58 at the moment. The first of the dog legs, right, left, the slower of the dog legs, it's fair to say. Then left again, the short chute, up to 10 and 11. The dog leg, the famous dog leg at Oran Park. Fans packed on the hill on the right-hand side as they head down into turn 12 one more time. Back onto the main straight, another lap in the box. And we've had a spinner on the left-hand side. You may have caught it on the screen there. Dear, oh dear. It's not been your night, has it, Nick?
Can be, but not right now.
Oh, dear. Now, 2 cars wide at 1. That was Haddad. Haddad was wide at 1. And there was someone else wide with him as well. And that's going to shake up the order of the race here because Russell's going to move into 2nd spot. Haddad will take 3rd back, getting by Gazza on the inside. And he'll go back out in pursuit of 2nd now. Further back, there's Nick on your screen now. He's about to be lapped. That's not a good sign for you, Nick, being a lap down here.
I mean, we'll get a wave around, so
pit stops have still got to play out as well, so you might get a lap back before you get the safety car. But yeah, it's going to be interesting for you from this point forward. We'll keep out.
I've learned a valuable lesson because I thought my front tyres were buggered, so I just took fronts. Not a good idea. Massive ravers here.
Yes. Oh dear. So we are just shy of half race distance here. Hammond leads by 5.1 to Craig Russell. Cohen Haddad back to 3rd. 4th is Gazza. 2nd, 3rd, and 4th have spread out a little bit because of Haddad's mistake last time around. And Haddad again wide at 1. Again wide at 1. 2 laps in a row. Cohen Haddad's wide at 1. Now, going off what Nick was saying with tyre grip and everything else, could that be a factor for Cohen Haddad here, Nick?
Possibly. Nico assured me you can go the distance on tyres. I just only did my fronts just for precautionary reasons, but we'll see.
All right, Nico, your thoughts on all of this? Tyres will last. You just need to be conservative with them. I mean, it's a tough track on tyre, sure, but these tyres are pretty tough.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had damage, so I was left hand down quite a bit. So it registered as no contact, but and there we go. I had a bit of damage.
So we're going to get our caution right now, folks. So the safety car is out. Yellow lights flashing around the circuit. Here's the opportunity for Nick to get his wave around. Paul was the last of the cars on the lead lap on our leaderboard here. Whether Hammond got him on that last lap around, I don't think so. So Paul's got out of jail free there. He'll come back round onto the back of the queue. And everyone will bunch up behind the safety car. The yellow is out. Xander Antonov sitting ninth at the moment. He'll need a wave around as well, because he goes through the safety car. Anyone that isn't the leader at the moment is being encouraged to pass the safety car. Not Jamie Whincup style, being actually told to pass the safety car. Go around the outside, come back round, join up on the tail of the field. So Michael Hammond leads by 5.6 seconds at the moment. Gazza sits there in 7.9 seconds was the margin first to third that last time around the line. He now sits third in the motor race. Colin Allard back to fourth after that previous lap mistake. Benny Snell fifth, Simon Ferris, Jared Daly, Dave Farrelly, Michael Porter, Xander Antonov for the top 10 right now. Then Pete Dunham, Paul Nichols, and then, of course, Nico Pop there in position number 13. Luke Keamy, Josh Millard, also a lap down. Not good news for Josh Thomas and Chris Kisby, 2 and 3 laps down respectively, but they'll get one of those back right here, right now. So half race distance, plenty to dissect out of all of that so far. The battle between Russell, Gasser and Haddad has been phenomenal entertainment so far, Nick and Paul. And you two are now well poised with pit stops out of the road. Some of these guys haven't yet pitted. You two are well poised to take us into the second half of the motor race and be real contenders at the pointy end of things here.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just stuck behind Chris at the moment, but that's okay. I'll hopefully once we catch the safety car, we'll be right.
Flurry of pit activity here. 5, 6, 7 cars in the lane right now. Long run into the pit lane here at Oran Park, of course, as the field make their way down into their respective pit stalls. Hammond, Russell, Gazza, Addard, Snell, I believe all came in just then. And that means that the field will be... This should be everyone completing their compulsory stop during this safety car window, and then we should be right to run green to the flag. Round 9 of the Stock Car Series coming up a little bit later on this evening. We've got a special event coming your way on Sunday night as well, which we'll get Nick to explain more about a little bit later. And of course, Monday night GT Series racing comes your way from Road America on the back of a sensational race from Daytona on Monday night. And as some of you will have been able to tell already, the vocal cords have recovered quite well after what was a pretty frantic 45 minutes there, as we expected it might be on Monday night. Have a look at this. How good's the Oran Park circuit? Of course, Paul was talking about having had the privilege of racing there in real life some years ago. I have to say I've also had the privilege of not only racing there, but also commentating there in real life on the go-kart circuit, of course, on the other side of the complex, of course, to the main pit building there, with the infield configuration being used not only for karts but also bikes over the years, of course. But no, very lucky to have been able to commentate go-kart racing at that venue, and fond memories of even getting to drive a go-kart on that circuit. Just the thrill of being able to say I went over the Oran Park Bridge was good enough for me.
Hey Zach, on
yes,
Facebook, Leon McNeil has said that rumour has it that Zach will be driving in the next races.
No, not likely. No, look, actually, there's a nasty rumour going around at the moment, and it's true, that Gordon Smith has offered me a drive in his Hyundai XL the next time we go out to QR for practice or racing or whatever the case may be. I've told him not to offer it to me because I'd absolutely destroy the gearbox on him. I'm not the coordinated type, but I might just hop in and idle around in first gear if he's happy for me to do that. And of course, with the right blessings from bosses and the like out at QR as well, So there is a rumour going around that I will be driving a car in due course. My biggest concern at the moment is just when driving lessons are allowed to resume as part of all this COVID stuff and social distancing and all the like, getting back in the Hyundai i30 that's sitting in the driveway and getting my hours up and getting my confidence up so that I can drive across the border for Christmas. Whether it's open or not before then is yet to be disclosed and confirmed, but we live in hope. How good's the infield section there?
I would hope that the borders are open for everyone to be able to travel during Christmas.
Exactly right, mate. Not just in Queensland, but also Northern Territory. We understand the Northern Territory a little bit more with the Indigenous communities, but South Australia, Western Australia and Tasmania, come on, get your act together, folks.
A great driving school and driving instructor down in Ipswich there for you, Zach, so I'll let you know off air.
Thank you. I've already got a couple of contacts with regards to that, but I'm happy to have more.
This is an IPRA guy.
Even better. No, the more the merrier, and whoever's cheapest wins. Now, let's
Probably need some driving schools to maybe sponsor the series. What do you think?
Yeah, actually, that's not a bad idea.
Sponsor the Gentlemen's Racing Club. Maybe one of the series coming up.
That's exactly right.
The Zach series.
Yeah. Actually, I wouldn't mind working with you guys to put a series of tracks together because there are some good tracks that we haven't visited yet. But we'll discuss that in the weeks ahead. Hey, let's get back to racing here, folks. Safety car peels off. Race back on. Oran Park, Friday Night Motorsport. The doubleheader continues. Across the line and on the run down to the VODs. The first corner they go. Field already spacing out 2 and 3 wide, trying to find their own piece of real estate here. Little bit of a grimace from one of the boys there tells you that they might be in a little bit of trouble, but we'll keep our eyes on that spinner. No, that was the 032. Jared Daly found the inside, and that was the grass on the exit of turn 2. And we've got another car in the wall. That's Laser Dave Farrelly in the wall just after the bridge as well. Oh, what a disastrous restart for those two, Paul.
Absolutely. They kind of just locked tall ones. I don't know. Hard to call it. I'll have to have a look at it.
If Rob can get a shot of Laser Dave Farrelly's car, because he's there, he was position number 6 at the restart.
Blown up on channel.
He's now got
He'd be dirty, yeah.
an enormous amount of damage. There it is on your screen now, folks. An enormous amount of damage on the front end of that car. That'll be coming in for a fast repair and Dave Farrelly out of contention. We talked about the safety car, potentially breeding safety cars, but punching the field up and making a really good race, unfortunately not for Dave Farrelly. Across the line they go, another lap in the books. Now have a look at this, folks. Paul Nico Nichols is sitting 5th. He's on your screen there. Behind him is Jared Daly. Behind him is behind him is Michael Porter. Behind him is we've got it. We had another spinner at turn 1 there, and I've been off-thrown by the lap board also doing a few loops and changes.
Michael Porter's just behind them at the moment. You'll see him in the pink car there.
Yeah, no, thank you, mate. I was reading the lap leaderboard, but it was still refreshing for some reason. I'm not sure why. It had a little bit of a wobble.
Just so people know, there is an issue with iRacing at the moment where it doesn't seem to update the positions until they cross the finish line. Or the starting line. So I don't know why it's doing that. It used to do it live, now it does it when they cross the line. So I don't know if that was intentional or not.
Not sure at all, but let's refresh here and straighten up because I need to sort out what I've made a meal of here. Craig Russell, the leader, Michael Hammond 2nd, Simon Ferris, Ben Snell, then Paul Nichols. You're watching behind him, Gazza, Cohen Haddad, Michael Porter, and then Nick sitting in 9th, and Jared Daly is now 10th on our leaderboard here. Across the start-finish line again, Simon Ferris has moved up into 2nd spot. Russell back to 5th. So that'll be who... Russell will be the car that come unstuck that you saw there on the exit of turn 2 on the previous lap. We saw the green car getting crossed up. Now Cohen Haddad's got crossed up on the exit of 2, and Michael Hammond's gone into the wall under the tunnel. Under the bridge. Would you believe that? There he is on your screen now. Dear, I'm getting 2 different feeds here, folks, and I'm trying to keep you abreast of everything that's happening on the 2 of them. Xander Antonio's just come down there on the inside of Michael Hammond. Oh, it's all going to hell for some of these contenders. Russell's had a spin on the exit of turn 3. Cohen Addard was wide at turn 2 again. It's been a lap from hell for Addard, for Russell, for Hammond. And in all of that, our mate Paul Nicholls will find himself probably in 3rd place by the end of this lap, chasing down both Benny Snell, who leads, and Simon Ferris in 2nd. There's Michael Porter on our screen now. The distinct, noticeable pink machine, number 21. Next car behind him is, of course, our good mate, should have been our good mate Nick, but Nick might have got in front of him. I'll get across all of that. So Nick's got there in front. Hammond's going into the lane. This has not been the night for Michael Hammond. There's no doubt about that. Nick's got up into 6th in all of that. Paul Nicholls finds himself in 3rd. So our in-race reporters are going to be quite happy at this point in time. Cohen Addard just seems to continue on missing the marker at turn 1 and 2. He's been in the grass and the gravel there more times than anyone else tonight from what I've seen so far.
Needs
and
bucket
at the
and spade.
moment, yes, exactly. At the moment, he's under pressure from Gazza in the 58. That's the battle you're watching on your screen there, folks. Just ahead of them is Paul Nicholls. And, of course, Nicholls is trying to chase down, but it's 2.5 seconds he's got to try and find. Simon Ferris. The leader, Ben Snell, is 2.6 seconds clear at the moment. The race has come to Ben Snell. Been a really good run for him so far. Nico, you've got to be happy with your strategy paying off so far, mate. That's worked really well in your favour.
I was certainly doing some dodging cars at the restart there, and just got through. I don't know how I got through, but I did.
And Nick, of course, your next target is a couple of seconds up the road. Yet it's the 58, our mate Gazza.
My teammate.
So the teammates will go into a duel very shortly. Any team orders at stake there?
Get in front.
Fair enough.
Whoever's in front is in front.
21.
Yeah, multi 21 indeed. Oh dear. Happy days.
Yeah, it's been interesting, but I actually pitted and got fresh tyres, so I think I got pace on everybody in front of me. We'll see how we go, but I'm catching everybody. So fresh tyres did pay off that time. I did take the extra pit stop, got 4 fresh new boots, and there was a lot of mayhem even further back from the main stuff. So people checking up and concertinaing. So yeah, I'm up to 6th, and we'll see what happens.
And doing nicely indeed. Aerial shots coming in from Oran Park. They head down into the dog leg, or up over the dog leg at least, and down into turn number 12. One more time. Russell down the inside on Shane Witt, that was, trying to get through there, I do believe. But not able to see whether he got that done by our aerial shot here at the moment. They head down the main straight to turn 1. Battle's going on right throughout this pack here. There's a real cracking battle unfolding for 3rd, 4th and 5th, if we can skip over to that, Rob, actually. It's the battle between Paul Nicholls, Cohen Addard and of course, Gazza. They're just coming over the bridge right now. You can't see that on your aerial shot. Now you can, folks. There they are. Nico's under a bit of pressure here. We're not going to talk to him just for the moment. We'll check in with him after the race because he's got Cohen Addard and Gazza right up his clacker at this point in time. As they head over the dog leg through turn 11 down to turn 12 one more time. Nick's not too far away from this battle. He's got to find 2.7 seconds or thereabouts to try and find a way through. As they head back to the main straight one more time. Bathurst is the next stop for this championship, so they'll just go for a short drive through the Blue Mountains of New South Wales to get out there. And Bathurst will be the next stop for this series next week. But as I say, there's more production car racing to come from the Gentleman Sim Racing Club for all certs. So we'll bring you up to speed with the revised calendar, the expanded calendar at the end of this broadcast. Don't forget, of course, stock car racing to come from Phillip Island very shortly as well. Now, Nick, it looks as though you're slowly getting there, mate. 2.1 now the margin between yourself and Gazza. Can you claw that gap back?
I'm getting there, like you said. I'm trying everything I can. I'm hoping Paul can hear me and slow those guys up. And
no, I can't hear.
And yeah, these cars are looming bigger and bigger in my windscreen / screen. So now I'm talking, I'm getting a bit loose, so I got to actually kind of
that's all right. You concentrate. You do that, and we'll have a look at Paul Nicholls defending on the inside here. Cohen Allard went to try and find a way around on the outside. That was never going to work for him, and now he tucks back in. So Nicholls is under pressure here at the moment as they head down the main straight. Across the start-finish line one more time. Where are we time-wise? 34 3/4 minutes in the books. When Ben Snell took the across the start-finish line last time round. Down the inside of Nicholls, and job done. But Nicholls will hang there, will he? No, he won't. He tucks back in and goes to the outside, trying to look for a way around as they get down to turn 3, and can't do that just yet. Gives him a little tap through 4. Gets a little bit crossed up on the exit. He's stuck in 4th now. He's under pressure. Gaz is there in 5th. Nick's right in the thick of the battle as well. A 4-way fight for 3rd here. And in all of this, they're doing themselves no favours because they're not going to catch Simon Ferris at this rate. Cohen Allard's been released. However, I reckon, given what we've seen from Cohen Allard thus far tonight, there's a real chance for Paul Nicholls and co, Gazza and Nick, to get back into this fight, because Allard has continually mucked up turn 2 tonight like you wouldn't fair dinkum believe. Down into turn 12 one more time. You're right on board with Gazza. Trying to find a way by Paul Nicholls right here, right now. Nick's in behind them, the very next car. Across the start-finish line. 36 minutes of racing in the books, so about 9 to go. So that'll be 7 laps, I reckon, around here for these guys. Maybe an 8.
Traffic.
Lap traffic playing a horrendous role here right now. Not ideal. And Paul Nicholls got it 2 crossed up on the exit of 4. 3 I should say, and into 4. But he managed to hold the spot. He had the inside line for 4. But he's under tremendous pressure from Gazza. Nick's in there waiting for all hell to break loose so you can just come through and clean up the bickies.
Correct.
Just patience is the virtue. Now they head into turn 8.
Oh.
And there's your moment. There's your moment. Paul's gone round. You saw it on your screen there, folks. Nicholls has gone around. And it's going to be a redress issue. So Gazza's let Nick go through. He'll let a few more go through as well as he looks to redress with Paul Nicholls.
So Paul must have got sideways or slid. Gazza checked up, and I had nowhere to go, and I smashed Gazza into Paul.
Oh, okay. There you
right
go.
Behind him. I only had like a metre difference, so yeah.
Dear idea. Not an ideal result for anyone in that fight. And it puts paid what was a very good battle for 3rd in the motor race. Nicholls goes through. Gets back by Gazza. And Gazza will try and work his way back through the field, as will Paul. They're down in 8th and 9th now, respectively. So the revised order, Xander Antoniev's got up into 5th spot. Michael Porter 6th. I was having a look at statistics and a few other things to see what was going on there with Simon Ferris and Benny Snell. Just when all hell broke loose there, unfortunately. But it all started, unfortunately, when Paul got it loose at turn 3, the right-hander, and then had to defend for 4, 5, 6, and then 7 as they went into turn, 8, and then 9 was where the incident unfolded. I'm just trying to remember the corner numbers. Even though I've got the track map on the right-hand side of the screen, I can't exactly look at that. And look like it's on the screen at the moment in front of me too, folks. So, turn 9 was where all hell broke loose. And unfortunately, it's deprived us of what was a cracking battle for position. We return to this battle between Simon Ferris and Cohen Allard, though. Cohen Allard has closed right up on Simon Ferris. Ben Snell's cleared out to a 12.5-second lead here. And Simon Ferris has jumped in behind in 2nd. Cohen Allard 3rd. Xander Antoniev is there in 5th spot. Nick is still 4th. So Nick might not get the podium tonight, but at least he's sitting there in 4th place.
Xander's closing me down pretty quick, smart. Now that I got damage to my car.
Well, that will do it, won't it? So, closing stages here, folks. Hope you're enjoying Friday Night Motorsport across Doadrift Esports, Twitch and Facebook, of course. Subscribe to the Twitch account. Like the Facebook page. Keep an eye out for all the great motorsport to come your way, of course. We have got an awesome stock car race coming up from Phillip Island a little bit later on. Hopefully a field of 20 plus for that. And we're expecting the fields to grow a little bit when we go to where next Friday night. So stick around for that. Oh no! Have a look at this! Would you believe that? That was Simon Ferris going off the circuit into the gravel, taking a leaf out of Cohen Addard's book, but so much worse. Addard's come unstuck there so many times tonight, but that was a big off into the gravel, and he'll lose second spot. He'll lose third spot in all of that as well. Nick's come through to clean up and put space between himself and Xander Antonov, but Antonov, the youngster's charging, and all of a sudden, a few laps ago, we had a three-way fight for third. We've now got another three-way fight for third in the motor race. As Cohen Addard clears Simon Ferris to take second. Nick's gone up into third. Ferris back to fourth. Antonov in fifth. What a turn of events here at Oran Park. Magnificent racing. Just to give you an update, in all of that, Simon Ferris has left it all wide open, and Xander Antonov's gone through into fourth now. Followed the youngster on the aerial view down into turn 12. There's the shot of the start-finish line. There's Nick third. There's Xander fourth. You're following Xander at the moment. Look at the damage on Nick's car. The youngster is charging through. And Xander's done it pretty cleanly as well. I'll be interested to see, and we'll have to get an update on this post-race, how everyone's fared in the incident points department here.
If you click on your entries button on the iRacing service there, you can see it on the far right.
Thank you. I'm actually getting no reading whatsoever for the
okay. Maybe you'll see it at the end. Yeah, that's where it is.
Okay, thank you. I'll have a look at the end of the race and see if we get an update on all of that. Yeah, good luck to you boys in the thick of battle here. This is a fantastic fight. Now, speaking of fantastic fights, have a look at this too. You've got Michael Porter in the position number 6, Shane Witt, then Gazza, then Jared Daly, 7, 8, and 9. This is a battle, three-way fight for 6th position. Porter, Witt, and Gazza, and they are separated by 1.1 seconds. And Gazza's giving Shane Witt the big hurry up as they go over the dogleg now. Will Gazza look down the inside? Yes, he will. Down the inside. Job done on Shane Witt. Witt wanted to hang tight there coming out of the corner, but was unable to. In fact, I'm not entirely sure whether he's still in the... It looks as though he might have disappeared from the screen there. We were having some issues with the... So we'll keep an eye on all of that as they... But yeah, at this point in time, I'm getting a reading for Shane Witt down in 10th position. So, and that's not where he was. He was in this fight for 7th and 8th with Gazza and Jared Daly and Michael Porter.
Xander just got me.
Xander's down the inside of Nick as well. So that'll be Xander into 3rd place, Nick back to 4th. But at least you've got breathing space on Simon Ferris to the tune of about 5 seconds now. However, Simon Ferris is coming under pressure. As you can see on your screen here, folks, this is the battle we follow now. Simon Ferris is going to be under tremendous pressure from Michael Porter, Gazza and Jared Daly in the next 3 or 4 seconds. Look at Porter. Have a look at him right now in the dogleg, side by side almost, with Simon Ferris. And Gazza fancies his chances to go down the inside. Porter down the inside as well. Oh, boy. Gazza wanted to get by Porter. Porter wanted to get by Ferris. And in the end, no one got a move done. Porter's down the inside of Ferris as they go down the main straight. This is an opportunity for him to get up into position number 6. They hit turn 1 and does so. Porter takes 6th. Daly goes through to take 7th. And Ferris is relegated back to... Sorry, that was 5th and 6th, I should say. So Porter through to 5th, Gazza through to 6th, and Ferris back to 7th. Again, sorry, the screen chopping around a little bit on me at the moment. But that's what you need to know.
Xander just said to say hello.
Oh, say good day to Xander, yes. We'll definitely check in with him after the race. Don't worry about that. There'll be a lot to discuss with these boys after the race because it's such an historic track and one that we love and one that we wish was still around in the real world. And to get the chance to go racing here, I know a lot of the boys were excited about doing so tonight. Nick's still in fourth at the moment, but he's got 5 seconds off Michael Porter. Porter closing that gap down, but we should be coming to the checkered flag this time round for Benny Snell.
Yeah.
Benny Snell.
White flag.
I'll hazard a guess, yes, we're following him now. He's on your front camera there, folks, heading up into turn 4. Oh, boy, I think that was... I think someone's just had a spin coming out of turn 12 onto the main straight as well. I don't know who it was, but we'll find out in a moment. But we're following Benny Snell at this point in time. There's the spinner, and I just can't pick up a number at the moment. So that's the car.
Laser Dave Farrelly.
Davey Farrelly. Okay, thank you, Rob. He had the spin there going in out of turn 12 onto the main straight. So he's lost a couple of positions in all of that. As we go back to Benny Snell, however, he'll be coming to the checkered flag this time. There's Nico Pop doing a great job. Benny Snell, ladies and gentlemen, lights it up onto the main straight and is going to come across the line and comfortably take the win here at Oran Park. Quite nicely done. He's 16 seconds ahead of the competition, and he's doing burnouts before the field, before he's even officially taken the checkered flag. Now he does. And Cohen Haddad comes home 2 seconds in arrears. But Benny Snell, that content with his lead, was doing burnouts and celebrating before he actually got to the checkered flag. And he wins the latest round of the All-Certs Prod Series. What a great race that was here at Oran Park. Snell from Haddad, Xander and Totev in for third. Nick got home in 4th, 7/10 shy of the youngster. Gazza was 5th. And then, of course, Michael Porter, Simon Ferris. There's a burnout happening on the infield from Cohen Haddad. There's a smash-up derby happening around the place with the other cars as well.
We're going to do the jump under the bridge.
Yeah, it's very nice.
Oh, wow, my car
ready?
smashed.
Where's Paul? Let's find Paul. Rob,
Under the bridge.
Under the bridge. He's going to attempt something under the bridge.
Okay, going from turn 3 back onto the short circuit.
Yes, yep.
That chrome doesn't look good, mate.
Have a look at that, folks. Everyone's doing the turn 3 jump going up over the rise back onto the main straight and crunching in. It's like a demolition derby here at Oran Park. It's fantastic stuff. What great racing that was. There's the aerial view. There are a lot of the drivers sitting on the infield. You can see where the plume of dust is, smoke there. They had a little bit too much fun with that in the end. Benny Snell gets the job done. Cohen Haddad second. Xander Antonio for third. Then Nick. Then Gazza. So the two teammates 4 and 5. Simon Ferris in for 6. Jared Daly 7th. Then Paul Nichols coming home in 8th. That's not bad for Paul. Craig Russell in 9th and Michael Hammond in 10th. But by gee, there are some stories there. I mean, Nico and Hammer both involved in incidents. And you go down the order. Josh Millard was 11th. He was involved in an incident early on. Shane Witt was 12th. Michael Porter. Then Houston Trin, Josh Thomas, Laser Dave Farrelly, a lap down 16th. He was also involved in the incident. So, yeah, it was an incident-packed race. Chris Kisby, Luke Keamy, and Pete Dunham made up our finishing order there, but the latter two were 18 and 19 laps down, respectively, not really factoring into it. 46 minutes, 10 seconds. The official race time. We snuck one more lap in with time certainty at the 45-minute mark. 5 seconds left, I think we had, when Benny Snell come around to take the white flag. And as I say, 2.0 the winning margin. Xander Antonov had only 7/10 of a second on Nick in the end. Gazza was another 7 seconds back. That was a tight finish between Simon Ferris and Jared Daly. Just a 10th of a second in that. 21.3 played 21.4. Then Paul was charging home only 9/10 of a second behind them. Craig Russell in 9th was only 1.4 seconds behind Paul, and Michael Hammond was a long 24 seconds back. So there was a lot happening there in the latter stages to bring you all of that. There was a lot happening there in the closing stages that really bunched up what at times was a lackluster race for some people, but we always seem to have a battle for second or third unfolding there. Paul, from your standpoint, mate, obviously you'd have to be disappointed with 8th in the long run, but that's racing sometimes.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I know it's not intentional. Just it's a racing incident from what I saw. I mean, cars getting close. I got a little bit loose. Gazza, I think Nico got into the back of Gazza, and Gazza got on the back of me. It's all right. It happens. It was fun, though. I tell you, that's a great track combination. That was really good fun.
Oh, yeah, track and car. It was absolutely fantastic. No doubt about that. Hey, Gary Cousins, Gaz is in the chat room after finishing P5. And, it was an interesting sort of night for you, Gazza. You were always in the thick of the action, mate. Tell us about it from your standpoint.
That's good, yeah. That's where the fun is, when you're having some fun. No, yeah, sorry to Nico there. I was all over him, but I tagged him.
It's all good, mate. It's all good. We were just talking about that earlier. I mean, I know it's just a racing incident, so I don't take it to heart, Gary. I know it's part of what we do this for, is just having some close racing, and sometimes we make a little mistake, and that happens, man.
Paul, as I said during the call, it seemed as though that incident really started to build up from when you had that moment coming out of turn 3 on the run down towards the bridge there.
Yeah, absolutely. I didn't change tyres, so my tyres were certainly going off. And I think the guys behind me would realise that. So, yeah, I was just trying to hang on to it. And enjoyable race, though. Love that sort of challenge. Loved it.
Gazza, let's have a chat. Oran Park. I mean, obviously we're changing cars by the week, but to put a circuit in the competition that everyone's familiar with must have brought back some nice memories.
Yeah, that's an awesome track, and any slow car like these, I wouldn't go in a car much faster than these around here, though. It's hard to pass.
For sure. Thoughts on the race as a whole, mate? I mean, in the end, was 5th a fair reflection of how your night played out?
Yes. I was just here for the fun, mate. It doesn't matter where I finish. If I take someone, redress it, move on to the next lot of fun with someone else.
I was going to say that redress was probably the thing that cost you the most, because it took Paul such a long time to get back going, and there were so many cars between where you were and where he was as a result of all of that. You probably lost 4 or 5 positions as a result.
Yeah, goddamn Nico, he's going slow enough on track as it was without having to turn him, mate.
Oh, come on, mate.
Nothing like a little bit of sledging. Mate, thanks for having a chat.
After the race, where'd you finish, by the way, Gaz?
Gazza was 5th in the end, yeah.
Okay. So, if you hadn't turned, I probably would have finished 2nd or 3rd, but anyway.
Maybe I might have finished 2nd.
Well, to do that, you would have had to have beat the likes of Cohen Haddad and Xander Antonov, and I'm going to go to Xander right now because for the second time in 3 weeks, the youngster come charging through in the closing stages. Youthful exuberance serves you well, Xander. That was a nice drive, mate. 3rd place, well done.
Oh, yeah, thank you. I mean, it wasn't easy, but I made my way through and I surprisingly got 3rd place.
How hairy was the restart from where you were sitting, mate?
Oh, there was cars everywhere. Going into turn 2, I think it was. I went to go on the outside and there was a car spun and got tapped. We had like some taps in that, and then I'm on the on like half on the track, half on the dirt. I don't know what happened, but next minute all I know is I'm looking at another car across my bonnet and spun out and just made my way back through.
Now, 3 different. I think this is the 3rd week we've had you on board. 3 different cars, 3 different circuits. What's your favourite car? What's your favourite circuit so far?
Oh man, putting pressure on me. I think it would have had to be these around here, to be honest. I love my V8s and I love how these things handle. You can get them, throw them around and they handle like a drift car. It's amazing. So yeah, probably this car and this track. So yeah.
Now, Xander, you're not old enough to probably remember Oran Park when it was back being used as a proper racing circuit before it became a housing estate. It must be nice for someone like yourself who, is still relatively wet behind the ears in the world of motorsport, to use an old outdated expression to show my age. It must be nice to be able to go racing on a circuit that you'll never have the chance to drive on in a physical sense.
Oh yeah, that's it. There's some circuits that I drive around and I just feel like I'm there and I'm back in like the 80s, and yeah, it's pretty cool that I'm able to drive on these circuits that are no longer around, and yeah, pretty cool to be honest, and yeah.
I think that's something that we've not really discussed before, is it, Zach? One of the other benefits of iRacing and everything is to be able to get some of these tracks that aren't around anymore and get out and experience it.
And if you're iRacing, you'd want to be thinking about your next moves because of all this renewed interest in, or this increased interest in sim sports because of the COVID-19 shutdown. They should be out there laser scanning every single circuit while they're shut down as they possibly can, because everyone's going to want to say, well, why isn't this track on iRacing? Why isn't this track on iRacing? Because you've got the old school circuits like Oran Park. Yes, it's nice to hark back to where we were, and I mean, this is only going back 12, 11 years since we last raced on Oran Park, but you've also got to look at the future and say, well, if we can go racing at Interlagos, why can't we go racing at Queensland Raceway, for instance? So there's moves and discussions to be had with the iRacing mob. Xander, talk to me very quickly. For your real-world stuff, how much work have you been putting into the Hyundai Excel in the garage there in readiness for when we resume proper racing?
The car's ready. We literally got it ready and everything. We was prepared for round one, and we're getting the car prepped. It was all nice and clean and polished and ready to go. And then a week before, it got cancelled, and now it's just been sitting in the workshop, just getting dust on it, starting it up every now and then. Grandpa actually drove it from his house to the workshop and back, which was and Grandpa's there and he goes, "Oh man, it's got some grunt." So yeah, so hopefully I'll be out in the next month or two, which will be pretty fun and exciting.
Mate, I hope we're all out in the next month or two. Don't worry about that. Good to have a chat to you tonight. We've got to keep moving because we've got the stock car race not too far away.
All good.
In fact, Nick, Paul, what's our start time for the stock car?
We've got about 6 minutes of practice left.
Okay, so we'll wrap this up quickly.
Can I also ask that one of you grab Ben Snell to drag him into the chat? He's ready to go.
That would be a very good idea because we've got to have a chat to him very quickly because he's on double duty tonight as well, I would assume. Hey, let's quickly grab Josh Thomas in here as well. A lap down in the end, Josh, 15th spot. No, not a bad result. I mean, there were some guys that didn't finish. Not an ideal result either. Tell us about the 45 minutes from your standpoint.
I didn't qualify at all because I've never driven a Mustang before, and I only drove Oran Park and the trucks on Sunday. And I was going right at the back of the pack, and then someone tried to pass me on just before turn one and pushed me wide and damaged the car. Went to the pits, did that. And then I was basically 2 laps down from there, and I just basically cruised around until the end.
And Bathurst next week, mate. You must be looking forward to that.
Oh yeah, well I come third, I think, in the rookies in Bathurst. So yeah, hopefully front engine real drive still works for me.
Hopefully so, mate. Well done, nicely played tonight. And Nick, Paul, there was a bit of good news sent through to me today by yourself, Paul, to expand the production car series for all certs. We're going to be racing for a few more weeks beyond next week, which we were building to as a championship finale, but we've got a bit of exciting news to deliver in that sense, Paul. Actually, Paul's not with us at the moment. The microphone's on mute. Nick?
Might have gone into it. So just to extend it out, I think it aligns it with the iRacing calendar, and on the stock car side of things, we'll be doing some special events to match that. So we're still going to keep it 10 weeks this season, and then we'll line it all up. All our seasons will align, and it should be good. And that's all the seasons across Monday to Friday. So
looking forward to that immensely, mate. Well done to you as well, Nick. Just tell us.
Thank you.
Obviously, the damage in the end probably cost you third place with young Xander coming through there. But tell us about the Mustang. Tell us about Oran Park. From what we saw, there was always a battle for third happening for some reason. It didn't matter who was there. There were always 2 or 3 drivers jogging for that final spot on the podium.
Yeah, it's a good combo. The Mustang, relative terms for a race car compared to like this NASCAR that I'm piloting right now is it's a road car, so it's reasonably slow, but it's good that it's that slow that you can get a handle on it, if that makes sense. So all these new races to iRacing, it's actually a good starter car.
Indeed, it is. Now,
Oran Park's always been one of my favourites. I love the place, love the joint.
Yeah.
I love the figure eight and over the top and underneath, and it's just a fun track, especially the back half of the set.
Yeah, it certainly is. No doubt about that. Hey, I'm not going to reveal car details because that's information that we'll let Paul release in due course. But let me tell you, folks, that for the next few weeks, the podcast series expands, and some of the races will be longer, and therefore more points are on the line as well. But again, at the end of the broadcast, we'll get Paul and Nick to have a chat about all of that. The Mount Panorama Circuit is our next stop, next Friday, the 5th of June. Yep. The old boy's birthday. Then we go back to Oran Park on the 12th of June. On the 19th, it'll be Phillip Islands. So there's we've got a real Australian-centric flavour to the next few weeks. Then we're off to Lime Rock Park on the 26th of June. On the 3rd of July, it'll be Road America, and then back to Mount Panorama on the 10th of July. So Bathurst will get a second Guernsey, as does Road America, as does Phillip Island. And Oran Park will get a third Guernsey in all of that, and Lime Rock Park getting a second Guernsey. So we've expanded the series by another 5 weeks beyond next week, and that'll feature 5 of our favourite circuits. And I think the other point to make too, Nick, I know you're busy qualifying for the stock cars at the moment, but to put an end on the production car portion of the broadcast, and we'll have to have a chat to Benny Snell after the stock cars, and interview him for both performances. To put a full stop on the production car broadcast for the moment, though, from one of the shortest circuits we'll race on 2.62 kilometres, we go to 6.213 next Friday night. We go to Mount Panorama. That is going to be a huge test for these guys because there is not much, well, there wasn't much margin for error at some parts of Oran Park tonight, but there's a far less amount of runoff area when we get to Bathurst.
Yeah, and that's the great thing about Bathurst. It's a big, fast circuit. You shouldn't really go a lap down if you get into any trouble with pit stops and towing and all sorts of things. So it's shaping up to be really good.
Indeed. Now, just quickly, I've just had our first and second place drivers come into the chat thread here. So let me just quickly grab them in for a chat. Benny Snell, well done, mate. A commanding win well, it should have been a lot more commanding than what the margins will say, but you were that far in front that you thought, I'm going to do burnouts before I get to the checkered flag. Great night at the office for you, mate. Well done.
Yeah, thank you very much, Zach. It was to be involved in. Unfortunately, with the carnage after the safety car, my life was made a little bit easier. I was hoping to have a nice ding-dong battle with Michael Hammond, but unfortunately, it didn't come to be, and I had a nice cruisy win. And then I did a burnout across the wrong start-finish line, thinking I'd finished, and then went, oh, hang on a minute.
That could have been very embarrassing.
It definitely could have been extremely embarrassing considering you guys are broadcasting and I'm also streaming. So there was definitely a lot of eyes watching that error.
I did watch that, and I did wonder if you realised that you hadn't crossed the line after the first time you whipped it around.
Thankfully, you corrected it.
Line, and then I tipped over the wrong line.
Yeah, exactly. Mate, Oran Park brings back a lot of good memories for a lot of people. It must be nice to go racing there in the virtual world.
Definitely. Being from South Australia, I unfortunately never got to go to Oran Park before it was taken from us. But it is such a fun track, especially in this car. The car is a perfect match for the track. It flows so well, and I'll drive any chance I get around this track.
Indeed, and of course, when you look at the championship so far, that was a much needed win for you tonight. Of course, it didn't go the way you would have liked. You would have liked a toe-to-toe battle, but that's not the first time that Mickey Hammond struck trouble in this series so far. And the fact that we're extending it, a long way to go. Is there a chance that you can claw your way back into the contest here?
Yeah, possibly. I had a really good start to the championship, then stepped away for another series, and
that was a mistake.
my fortunes haven't been that great in that series. So
No.
when I saw the combo tonight with the Mustang at Oran Park, it was just too good an opportunity to turn down. So I was like, I'm definitely keen to jump into it. And now seeing the series has been extended, I might have to do some maths and see if we can claw back and have a go at the championship.
And of course, the Holy Grail is the next stop. Sorry, Nico.
Next week, yeah. I was just going to say to Ben, we're same car at Mount Panorama.
Oh, I'm going to try and go back to back then for sure.
I love it. Hey, Paul, I held off saying anything about car details because I know you like to drop the hints. So same car next week, folks. You heard it here from Paul Nichols.
Yep, correct.
And that is going to be good fun. All right, that's going to do us. Except for the fact that I need to just jump in and have a chat to Cohen Adard as well because he's in the chat thread here, and then that'll do us. We'll turn our attention to stock car qualifying, which will be about to get underway from Phillip Island, and we're looking forward to jumping in there in just a moment. Cohen, talk to us about your night, mate. 2 seconds to winning margin. Snelly had a lot more on you than that, as we just heard before we decided to play Burnout Central. It seemed as though you had a lot of trouble at turn 2. Talk to us through what was going on there.
Yeah, talking about the restart, eh?
Well, I was going to say, I saw you go wide at 1 and 2 about 3 or 4 times throughout the night, but the restart particularly.
Yeah, the going wide, my foot sort of went dead about midway through the race, so I was having a bit of pulling up. And then the restart, I accidentally but I thought I held up long enough. I don't know who that was. I spun by accident.
Yep. By accident, yes, that's it. Yeah, exactly. Until viewed otherwise by the officials, mate. To redeem second after all of that was a pretty good night at the office, though.
I'm actually pretty stoked because I think I dropped back to like 9th there at one point. Yeah. Real good comeback. Real surprised, and I think Ben had like a 10-second lead. I don't know what he was doing at the end. I was like, oh well, thought I might pass him, but no.
Yeah. There are 2 start-finish lines, as you can see there on the replay on the main straight here at Oran Park, and he was doing drifts and donuts across the wrong one, unfortunately, and I just realised, oh, hang on, I've got to go across the start-finish line before I can do this. So that's why the margin was only 2 seconds in the end. He admitted that himself. I thought he was showing off. I thought he knew where the finish line was, but he also knew how big a margin he had and just started to, do donuts for the sake of it to make it look better for television. But mission accomplished either way. The fact that it's same car, different track. The first time we've gone the same car week to week in the championship, does that suit you well for Bathurst next week, mate?
To be honest, I never drive this car, and that was really.
All right.
Cut out there.
Yeah, I was going to say we lost you there, Colin. Sorry about that. But yeah, Bathurst next week, mate. Good luck there. We're going to wrap it up. We'll chat to you and check in with you again next week. Of course, same car, Mount Panorama, different challenge, different beast, incredibly to Oran Park, but one that you're no doubt looking forward to.
Yeah, it should be a good race, man. They're real good cars to drive. Thanks.
Fantastic. Well done, mate. Great stuff. So just to put an end on that, folks, the top 3, Ben Snell, Cohen Adard, Xander Antonov from the opening round, the opening leg of the doubleheader here on a Friday night for Doadrift Esports and the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. That was round 9 of the All Sets Production Car Series. Nick was 4th. Then, of course, Gazza there in 5th spot. A nice performance from him. Simon Ferris, then Jared Daly, Paul Nichols, Craig Russell, and Michael Hammond rounding out the top 10. Quick break from us and back with stock car qualifying in just a moment.
All right, everybody,
Here
welcome
we go.
back. Joining us back in the commentary box is Zach Caban and Nico Pop for tonight's Stock Car Series Round 9. My name's Robert Hazeldean from Doadrift Esports, and I'll be handing you over now.
Thank you, Rob. I actually thought we were still on there, so I just muted the microphone and unmuted and started talking again, but that's all right. So it's not the first time I've talked to myself. Thankfully, I had Nick and Paul here for support, though, but good to have your company, ladies and gentlemen. Second leg of the doubleheader, and it's familiar territory because it's the Phillip Island Grand Prix circuit, and we've got a huge field of stock cars lining up for this one tonight, and we are bringing you the latter stages of qualifying here, in which we'll update for you in just a few moments, of course, and then a massive race coming your way. A lot of interest in stock car racing at the moment. The NASCAR Cup is back underway in the United States. We've been seeing it on Fox Sports here in Australia this week. Secondly, the Stock Car Championship here for the Gentleman Sim Racing Club is at a critical point because there are just 2 rounds left. This one tonight, Mount Panorama next week, and obviously the third factor behind all of that, when you look at the stock car racing facts here, the fact that it's Phillip Island tonight is a big draw card because it's a familiar circuit to a lot of people. May not necessarily be a familiar car to some of these guys, but it's a familiar circuit. Championship points coming into this round: Glenn Postlethwaite 314, Chris Whittaker 301, Brock Payne 240, Ben Snell 239, Carl Watmore 234, Trent Lavis in 6th spot on 230, 219 for John McLaughlin, 217 for Sam Collins, 212 for Kester Ward, and Brendan Whittaker on 208 points. Kane Baxter, Michael Schreier, Jonathan Hill, Daniel Ackland and Gary Cousins just outside, making up the top 15 there. And we have so far, would you believe this? See, 80 drivers, no less, compete in at least one round of this series. So the fact that we've got over 30 on the grid tonight shouldn't be a surprise to any of us. And as I welcome in Paul Nichols and Nick once more, this is a very different circuit, Nick, to what we're used to seeing stock car racing on. It's a circuit more synonymous with supercar or even World Motorcycle Championship Grand Prix racing. I'll come back to MotoGP a little bit later on. It's a fast, it's a flowing circuit. It'll actually bode well for some good racing tonight, I think.
Yeah, so it's fast and flowing, and that's the big thing. Everybody loves a fast flowing circuit because you get that real sense of speed. So it should be good. There's already some aggro on the server because people are not getting off the race line if they're slow, but let's see what happens.
I've actually been listening to that, Nick. It's quite. I've got the Facebook feed and also the iRacing feed up, and I've heard some of the aggro because I got the iRacing feed. But I'll just give you some times, Zach. So qualifying at the moment, Glenn Postlethwaite 132.6, yep. Cal Watmore 132.9, Michael Schreier 133.3. Chris Whittaker 133.6, and Sam Collins 133.7. So very close at the top there.
Indeed it is. And we're expecting it to be a very close race as well. Glenn Postlethwaite, I think it's 5 out of the last 6 he's won. Cal Watmore, Michael Schreier, Chris Whittaker, Sam Collins, Brady McHugh. Brady McHugh's been good right throughout the week in the GT racing. Expect him to go well in the stock cars. Nick's up in 8th spot in all of this as well.
To mention,
so he's going all right.
Off the pace, so doing really well.
He's just been displaced by Brock Payne, actually, who's jumped up into 7th spot. And there are now 38.
Today too.
Sorry?
Rocky made it out of hospital today as well, so he texted me straight away and says, I'm in. I got out of hospital, so good on him.
Excellent. I was going to say he thought he might be missing. So no, that's a good one. I wasn't even. I know we missed Cal Watmore last week because he was at the hospital for reasons that we've already explained last week, but we'll congratulate him on later in the broadcast. And I wasn't aware that Brock was in the hospital, so it's good that he's made it out, and it's good that he's well, and he'll be joining a field of. Have a look at this, 38 tonight for Phillip Island, which is massive. I think that's our biggest field of the series.
I think so, Zach. Absolutely, yeah, definitely. It'd be good to see how many start the race, but I think that's probably our biggest field. A shout out to Joe Baldwin. I think I've spoken about Joe previously. Joe's moved to WA from Queensland or from Townsville, and has got his sim rig set up in the last couple of weeks and joined us. Joe's a very good driver, loves his V8s and stock cars, so it'll be interesting to see how he goes tonight.
clearly, from what we're seeing from you, Nick, this wasn't a burn from the stern circuit.
I may still start from pit lane. I don't know. I've virtually no practice, so I needed to get my fuel numbers, which I'm doing my calculations now.
All right, no worries. Looking forward to the discussion with the drivers post race already tonight. This is going to be good, Nico.
Checking out some of the liveries, the boys have done some amazing work. Sam Collins livery, if you get a chance to look at that, Rob, amazing.
Yeah, Kester's done some good ones. He's put a lot of chrome on them, and they have that screw cancer on it, on the front, on the bonnet.
Yes, and if we get a chance, we'll let Chris explain all of that a little bit later on as well. Very personal reason for that livery selection tonight. Rob, if I can get a director's cut sent through to me as well, please, that'd be very handy. As we stand by to bring you a continuation of qualifying here, of course. Fact of the matter is, Glenn Postlethwaite's been unbeatable virtually so far. Cal Watmore, I reckon, will be filthy that he missed last week, because I reckon he would have made a real chance to get the job done. It was terrific racing again last week at the Glen, and we're looking forward to seeing so much more tonight from the island. I mean, look at Phillip Island. I'm just trying to draw a comparison as to why Phillip Island's a great circuit for stock car racing. For me, the closest thing I can think of is either the Infineon Raceway, Sonoma, California, or Road America. I'm torn between those two because there's fast-flowing sections, there's a couple of tight corners as well. There's something for everyone, and I mean, we normally associate the stock cars with an oval, but when you pick road courses usually deliver good racing, Paul.
Look, I would put a vote towards Road America. It's one of my favourite circuits.
Yeah.
Look, and I suppose it has that. You're talking about that flowing ability. And the drivers certainly need to be very conscious of fast track, but also there's some fairly big points where you need to brake very hard and get your apexes. And I think coming over Siberia and down the hill there, that's one of those critical areas that we may see some pretty big incidents tonight, I'd say.
Indeed. Let's have a look at the circuit. 12 turns, as you know. Of course, located Cowes, Victoria, Australia. Lovely part of the world.
Go whale watching, go seal watching, feed the seals down the bottom.
Indeed. And we're just having a look at the weather. And I'm going to offend a lot of Victorians here, but not really surprised to see thick black cloud hanging over the circuit at Phillip Island, I have to say. Mostly cloudy, 18 degrees. The track is 26, and the winds to the north at 3 kilometres an hour. So a 1 hour race 30 lap coming our way here. Yes, Rob?
What you're saying is this is a beautiful summer's day for them, right?
Absolutely.
A beautiful winter day. Actually, no, summer's about right, being 18 degrees. That's fair. It'd be about 12 if it was winter. Although we can't talk. We had a very cold day up here last Saturday in southeast Queensland, the coldest I've experienced in southeast Queensland. Even I was a bit uncomfortable, and that's saying something because it made the Central West look positively brilliant. Although that being said, it was a warm winter day for the Central West, hour 11 last week.
Just for those of you watching at home, if you see the front windscreens, they all have the drivers' names, well, they should do have the drivers' names on there. So if you get lost or you can't see a number, just look to the driver's windscreens. You should be able to see it front and back, I believe. So mine says OPOP.
Okay, gotcha. Beautiful. Now, checkered flag in the air. Qualifying is done. That went quick. I know we weren't with you for the whole session, but that was a 20-minute qualifying session, and the checkered flag is already waved. Obviously, there's a little bit of an overlap. For those of you wondering how the double header works, there is a little bit of an overlap so that we can interview our drivers from the production car race, and we took a bit longer than usual to get them into the chat window tonight, and then get ourselves reset for qualifying and racing here. So you always see the closing stages of qualifying, and now we'll bring you the race as well. 2, 4, 6, 8. Now the field reads at 39 for tonight. 31 guys have lodged a time. Glenn Postlethwaite's lighting it up on the run into pit lane here as well. Now, Glenn Postlethwaite, 132.63. No real surprise to see him on pole position. Callum Watmore alongside him, Michael Schreier, Brady McHugh, second row, Chris Whittaker, Sam Collins, third row, Brendan Whittaker and Todd Parks, fourth row, Brock Payne and Reece Goldfinch, fifth row, Nick's got himself into 11th spot there. Again, he's decided. Have a look at. I'm just having a look. You might be able to see it on the left. You might have been able to see it on our previous shot on the left-hand side there. Glenn Postlethwaite's reversing down into his pit stall, just showing off for the sake of it. I'm going to ask him about that at the end of the... It takes skill to do that, don't worry.
So we've had a comment from We Can Only Hope on the Twitch saying they're calling positions 1, 3, 8, 10, and 16 for the top 5.
Okay, so 1, 3, 8. So that's Postlethwaite, Schreier, Parks. And then what were the other two? 13 and 16, did you say?
Teammates.
John McLaughlin
10 and 16.
Oh, 10 and 16. So Reece Goldfinch and Scott Griffiths. All right, well, we'll wait and see. We'll wait and see how close they are to the mark. I think it's a bit too hard to call. I think it's a nice close margin between Postlethwaite and Watmore. Strategy could play out. There could be incidents, even though there's a lot of runoff area at Phillip Island. We've seen some terrific incidents here. I know I shouldn't say terrific, but we have seen some massive incidents here in racing over the years. Just to go back 11 through 20, Nick's in 11th, so may yet start from the pit lane. I still can't believe Postlethwaite was reversing down the pit. That's insane. Brendan Jackson's going to start alongside him. John McLaughlin, Zane Hills. Of course, Zane Hills was in the thick of the action of the race that we had on Monday night, of course. The GT race from Daytona. They're on the 7th row. Kane Baxter Smith, Scott Griffiths, the 8th row. Then we go back to Nick Windsor and Lachlan Gardner on the 9th row. 10th row, Joe Baldwin and Justin Ford. Anthony Visma and Pete Dunham, the 11th row. The 12th row, Warwick Sharp and Angus Cook. The 13th row is Tim Weir and Ads Ariel, who was very popular on our stream last Friday night. Paul Chicane Fair B. I'm not sure how we're going to get around that one. He's the number 68, and he started on the inside of the 14th row alongside Tina Wilcock. Adam Lavis, Trent Lavis there from the 15th row. Ben Snell from the 16th row with Craig Russell, Paul Jansen, Julian Muckey, Alan Archer, Chris Polly, Kester Ward, Brendan Jones and Mark Butcher not posting a qualifying time. And grid starting to form up on the main straight here. There's the aerial shot of the island. A safety car, or the safety truck in this instance, at the front. There will be a competition caution at some point during this race. It is 30 laps, 1 hour. Time certainty, I don't think time certainty will be a factor. Based on what we've seen in qualifying, a clean green run with maybe 1 or 2 laps behind the caution might see us run to about 50 minutes. So we've got some leeway there if we do get a second caution. But the good thing this year, Paul and Nick, as I bring you, actually Paul's not available, but I'll bring you into it, Nick, for the moment. The good thing has been we've only needed the competition caution. We've not needed any other additional cautions during our racing.
Yeah, exactly. I would have thought Summit Point was such a tight track would have required it, but no, it's been quite good. These guys have been well behaved. I'm starting from pit lane, by the way. News just at hand. And
breaking news.
Yeah, we'll see how we go. We need. It's a good spectacle.
Indeed, it is, and looking forward to this one immensely. So Nick's doing the double duty of racing and commentating yet again. Field moves off behind the course car right here, right now. Really looking forward to this race, folks. 30 laps on the agenda. iRacing on a Friday night. Doesn't get much better than this. 12 turns, anti-clockwise the direction. Some of the most famous corners in Australian motorsport lie right here at Phillip Island, of course. Doohan Corner, where they're going through right now. The Southern Loop, who can forget that? Of course, turn 2 there. Stoner Corner, Honda Corner 3 and 4. Siberia, of course, turn 6. The Hayshed through turn 7 and 8. Lukey Heights at turn 9. And then, of course, the run round 10, 11 and 12 back onto the main straight here. Really looking forward to what might unfold here. Big race ahead of us. Nick, if it's not you that takes the checkered flag, is it Glenn Postlethwaite? Is it someone else?
Oh, mate, I think you can mortgage your house on Glenn Postlethwaite getting across there first, but you just never know. It is sport. You never know. So, and that time, it's only 3/10 around a 90-second lap between Callum and Posy. So, it's going to be hard to pick because then there's a big jump through to Michael Schreier, his teammate, and Brady McHugh. So, we'll see. We will see.
Indeed, we will. Looking forward to this race. huge field of stock cars. But bodes well, of course, because we've got a big weekend of motorsport to bring you across Doadrift Esports and the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. There are going to be 55 Indy cars coming your way on Sunday night. Yes, Sunday night. More on that at the end of the broadcast as well. Glenn Postlethwaite, Cal Watmore front row here. Field heading up over Lukey Heights at this point in time to bring itself into starters' hands. Pace truck will pull off. Race will be on. And what a race it promises to be. I'm quite intrigued, of course, because what we've seen so far this year is such a good array of racing on such a vast variety of circuits. Stock cars aren't a car you'd normally associate with Phillip Island. This is going to be interesting to see how this plays out because, okay, yep, it's not a car you'd normally associate with the circuit, but it's a circuit that a lot of these drivers can associate with and relate to. So here they come, onto the main straight now. Starters orders. Race night of the championship is green. Green flag and racing, and Glenn Postlethwaite clears out to an early lead. Watmore tucks in behind, he had no choice. 2 by 2 further back in the pack, the field heads to turn 1. Let's wait and see if they can all get through here cleanly. So far, I do believe so. We're okay. 1 car wide at the exit of 1, but other than that, we're all good. Great start. Glenn Postlethwaite. Watmore followed him through. Side by side, a few cars further back in the pack, but the top 5. A line astern and status quo. Oh, contact. Oh, that was almost trouble there at Honda. I'm not sure, if I'm honest with you, who got served up there, or whether they did it on their own, but the fact that they didn't get stuck right in the middle of the hairpin and meant that everyone else was able to continue on and we didn't get a multi-car wreck on lap 1. That would have been disastrous for the motor race. 39 starters, if you don't mind, here. Oh, we had 39 entries. I don't know if we've had 39 starters. It looks like we've only had 33. With Nick being the 33rd of those. Over Lukey Heights. Into the second of the hairpins now. Round turn 11. The run onto turn 12, and lap 1 will be in the books here on a Friday night. How good's Friday Night Motorsport, the doubleheader, an Aussie flavour with an American twist, as I said in the opener. The Mustang and the stock cars across the line, 1 lap in the books. Look at the margin. You saw it there on your screen, opened up by Postlethwaite and Watmore on the rest of the pack. Huge margin separating first and last here early on. Didn't think they'd clear out that far, actually. It must have been the congestion at Honda Corner that caused all of that. Head round. Chris Whitaker. Sitting back there in 3rd place at the moment. Michael Schreier 4th. Trouble further back in the pack. You can see it at the top of your screen there. 2 cars off. One was the 24 of Brendan Jackson. The other was the 201 of Justin Ford. They've run into trouble on the run out of Southern Loop down to Stoner Corner, but they've been able to resume. Back at the front. John McLaughlin's in the thick of this battle. Kane Baxter-Smith's made a good start. So too Zane Hills. Brock Payne in behind John McLaughlin right now. 7th, 8th, 9th and 10th in the motor race. Phillip Island throwing up some great racing in the early stages here. 30 laps, a reminder, of course. This is lap 2. We have 28 to go as Postlethwaite crosses the line. Cal Watmore sitting 2nd at the moment. Here's this battle, 7th, 8th, 9th and 10th. A lap speed around 134 at this point in time. 308.2 the race time to this point. So that will improve as the cars come up to speed and the tyres come up. The grip, oh, big one just further back. If Rob can find a shot of turn 2, I don't know who that was. There it is. The 269 of Angus Cook And the 89's come off the circuit as well, and there's more trouble at the southern loop now. Dear, oh dear, there's all sorts of drama unfolding here. The 23 of Adam Lavis got served up. The 89 is Tim Weir. I'm not sure who else was involved in that, but we've had 3 big accidents on lap 3 of the motor race. More trouble! Now the number 12's involved. And Lavis just can't get a clean run at the moment. He's on the escape road. The number 12 is Warwick Sharp. Dear, oh dear. Back to the front. Chris Whitaker's trying to stay with them. With them being Watmore and Postlethwaite over the top of the hill. And already
Talk of incident points, and we're already how
I was going to say, 3 laps in, this is lap 3 now, lap 4, and we're already talking about incident points. That's not a good start of the night, let me tell you. Across the line we go again. The race advantage at the end of lap 3 is 1.1 between Glenn Postlethwaite and Cal Watmore. There they are, going out of the southern loop. Actually, no, that wasn't them, sorry, coming out of the southern loop. I'll find out where our leader is in a moment. Glenn Postlethwaite is that race leader. He's actually just going out of Honda. So that's Chris Whitaker in 3rd spot that you're watching there. Behind him is Michael Strayer, Brendan Whitaker and Sam Collins in no particular order. Yeah, action aplenty in the early stages here, Paul. The fast repairs will work well for some of these drivers.
Well, there'll definitely be a pit stop. And there will be a safety car at some stage, so the guys that might be a lap down or so will wave them around. And yeah, I'm sure a big field, tough car, tough track.
Massively tough circuit.
We're touch and go on 2 stops here.
Okay, I was about to ask whether that was going to be the case. So that's Nick's numbers coming into play there. Kane Baxter-Smith just had an off-track excursion as well over the top of Lukey Heights. He'll lose positions out of all of that as he tries to rejoin in a safe manner. Oh boy, already incidents aplenty here. It's a fast circuit. There's a high margin for error and a lot of runoff area, but that doesn't always help you. It's there's tyre walls waiting to claim you and eat you up. There's Brock Payne on our screen now. Chasing down the 97 of Zane Hills. So Postlethwaite leads Watmore, 1.1 seconds. Chris Whitaker 3rd, Michael Strayer, Brendan Whitaker, Sam Collins, John McLaughlin and Zane Hills the top 8. Brock Payne, Scott Griffiths make up the top 10. Lap 5. Stock car racing. Gentlemen Sim Racing Club. Friday Night Motorsport, Doadrift Esports. Nice to have your company wherever you're listening to us and watching us all around the world. 30 laps, as I say, that should be enough for the time certain factor. A little bit surprised, a little bit impressed and a little bit surprised. Impressed that the drivers that have been involved in incidents have been able to get out of them so easily. A little bit surprised that we haven't seen a caution yet. I know that we've got one scheduled. It's a competition caution. It'll get thrown randomly during this race. But I'm a little bit surprised, Paul, that we haven't had a safety car yet, given that the incidents we've seen thus far have been big and they've been it's probably been the ugliest start, the messiest start that we've seen so far this series.
Yeah, and we probably expected that with this particular track also. But look, the track's not blocked, so I don't think safety was an issue for the stewards out on the track, and the drivers themselves, there's no one on their roof or their lid, so we just keep it running.
Indeed. Round onto the main straight one more time. They'll come. And Glenn Postlethwaite will put lap 6 on the board. Cal Watmore, Chris Whitaker, Michael Strayer, Brendan Whitaker. Then Sam Collins, John McLaughlin, Zane Hills and Brock Payne. They're the top 9 at the moment. There's Brock Payne in 9th, following Zane Hills. They're the 2 on your screen at the moment. We follow them around the southern loop. We haven't had a chance yet to talk about overtaking opportunities on this circuit. Obviously, turn 1, turn 2, turn 4, all very good passing opportunities, and then you're probably looking at Lukey Heights. They're the best 4 overtaking opportunities you'll find on this circuit. The rest depends on the run you get, depends on your luck, depends on your fortune. And speaking of which, the 69 of Trent Lavis running into a little bit of trouble there on the exit of Honda Corner. Just having a look back down through the order, we had a couple of non-starters. No Alan Archer, no Chris Polly, no Craig Russell, Pete Dunham, Julian Muckey, and also Joe Baldwin. So 6 non-starters. That brings the start back to 33. And I'm just having a look back through the order here. Trent Lavis has moved up to 14th already. He's made the most of the mess and the untidiness around him. He's jumped up into the top 15 already. You were watching him on your screen there a minute ago. Just ahead of him, Danny Snell is sitting in there in position 16, and Gardner. Sorry, this is just behind Trent Lavis. Behind them is, of course, Kester Ward. Round onto the main straight. Look at Snell forcing the issue there on the outside. The 141's going by Lachlan Gardner. Danny Snell's going to put himself up into 14th position now with Trent Lavis dropping back down. So that is Lavis, actually. Lavis has made a mistake. He's dropped back down into 16th now, and Kester Ward is in behind him. And now, a moment for Lockie Gardner as Lavis gets back down the inside and back into 15th in the motor race. So that battle is ongoing. Let's get an update on, the 41. Scott Griffiths has come unstuck there. He was 10th. We just saw him parked to the right-hand side of the circuit on the exit of the Southern Loop. Let's get an update on our leaders. The 36 is Cal Watmore. He's 1.6 seconds away from Glenn Postlethwaite.
Yeah, catching some back markers, so...
Already, which is... That was Daryl, I reckon, that he just went by. Already back markers playing a role in this motor race.
Glenn's pitting.
Glenn is pitting early. That's an interesting move.
Stop.
I think Glenn Postlethwaite into the lane, so it's a 2-stopper. You've heard it here first. It's at least a 2-stopper. Cal Watmore takes the lead ahead of Glenn Postlethwaite. Chris Whitaker will move into second while Postlethwaite sits in the lane. And it's now interesting to see what sort of strategy Callan plays here. Whether he goes long and then short and long again, or whether he goes in next time round and short. There'll be one short stint, there'll be 2 full long stints in this race. Maybe there's a tactical ploy to even it out and have 2 10-lap stints and then bring it home with a 10-lapper. Depends on where the caution falls. That'll be playing on everyone's mind at the moment as well. A lot of factors to play out here. Nick's dropped down into 13th spot in all of that. Actually, that's not bad considering you started from the pit lane, Nick.
Yeah, I was 20th, and I think now people are, because Glenn jumped, everybody jumped with him. He's just filtered out in front of me in roughly 10th or 11th spot, so...
He's in 11th.
Yeah, and I've jumped up a couple spots because of that. I'm still trying to hit a fuel number.
As you said, Zacky's going to split it into 3s.
Yep. And that's an interesting one, Paul, because you've got a few different options there. You can have 2 long stints, 1 short stint. You can have 3 mid-length stints, or you could go 1 long, 1 short, 1 long. There's a few different ways that it can play out here, but it's all going to rely on where that caution falls.
Yeah, absolutely, and also tyre wear as well. So it depends on the tyre wear, whether he takes tyres the next stop or not. Or
what's your view on that, Nick? How's your tyre wear faring, Nick?
Well, I'm trying to hit a fuel number, so my tyre wear's been fantastic. I reckon if you're going to do tyres, it's going to be right side initially, and I think maybe both at the second stop, but we'll see.
Beautiful. So, we're just having a look at this ongoing battle here. The 99's on our screen at the moment. That's, of course... sorry, no, it's not... Is that you there, Nick? Yes, it is.
I'm 99.
99. Yep, onto the main straight. I was just losing my numbers there for a moment because different paint schemes, different weeks, and all that sort of stuff. But you're following Brendan Jackson at the moment on the run down to turn 1 in the iRacing entry. The iRacing banner plastered right over the bonnet as they head into turn 2. To those of you just joining us, you can see on your screen there, Nick can wave and say hello to everyone. We've got an in-race camera shot there for you at the moment. Nick, focus on the job at hand, mate. Don't wave too hard, you might end up in the weeds. and then we'll all be laughing, unfortunately. But have a look at this. That's Jackson and Nick, and they're all working there to try and displace the Lachlan Gardner entry, and they have done so.
And Callum Watmore's just filtered out just in front of us, but Glenn's got the jump. So I think he's got about 3-second jumps on him. Just trying to look down the track a bit, see him. I can't see him on my timing screen.
Yeah. Brock Payne is actually the official leader of the race at the moment, according to my overall leaderboard. There he is on your screen now, folks, the 33. And he's coming to pit lane this time round. So that'll allow Kane Baxter Smith to come through and take the lead of the race. He's going round again. Payne's in the lane. We're watching Nick in 10th at the moment. You're running to a number, Nick, so is there any set plan on when you come in to stop here, or...?
Yeah, when I can hit that number. I'm not hitting it yet.
Okay, fair enough. So you're not worried about where the caution falls in all of this? That's not part of your strategy?
My strategy is just to get through on one. I'm about two litres. It's about a lap off. So my number, if I can hit it, I'm set. But I've got about 5 laps of racing fuel left. So I don't know if I'll get it or not.
All right.
So I might have to sprint now and then try and see if I can get. Hopefully the caution falls at the right spot, but we'll see. I'm still trying to hit this number.
All right. We'll let you focus on that. Ariel's on the outside of Honda corner there as everyone makes their way through. Hello to the 26 of you that are tuning in via Facebook Live at the moment. Great to have you on board on a Friday night. I'm just going to go for a little bit of a scroll through the comments here. The first few laps were hairy, Paul, but it's now settled out nicely, mate.
Absolutely. I think a race like this, big cars, hard to stop, hard to turn. There's going to be some incidents, and we'll review it after the race. A little bit of chat in race comms, but nothing too serious. I think there's a couple of racing incidents, but we'll review it after the race. And I'm sure, look, how much time we got left? We're lap 10, so another 20 laps. So I'm sure that will go on.
We're a long way from home. There's no doubt about that. We're following the 76 at the moment. That's, of course, Ariel sitting down there in position number 28 at this point in time. Round onto the main straight here at Phillip Island.
I've just noticed that Ad's family isn't on here asking me to put him up on screen.
I was just looking at the same thing, Rob. You see that there were no comments coming in.
So I flicked across to him just in case they're watching and they're not on the chat. So hello to Ad's family if you're out there. We look forward to having you back on chat next time you can get on.
Absolutely. Now, our leader is Kane Baxter Smith. He's got 0.87 of a second on Glenn Postlethwaite, Cal Watmore, Ben Snell, Brendan Jackson, Michael Schreier. That's the running order that we're seeing on our timing monitor here in the studio at the moment. I hope you're enjoying it wherever you're listening and watching us right around Australia. Stock car racing on a Friday night from the gateway to hypothermia, Phillip Island. As you can see, there's cloud looming there, folks, but we haven't mastered the art of wet weather racing on iRacing as yet.
Doesn't it make you feel like it's about to rain?
Anyway.
Zach,
Absolutely.
Just looking at this, I got that feeling like I really feel like it's about to start raining. I keep looking outside so the dogs don't get wet.
Keep thinking it's just going to be a monsoon. And just have a look at the time as well, folks. On the sim racing settings, our race administrators, as we follow one of the drivers into pit lane here, we're on board with. So another pit stop coming our way now. Interesting to note that what I'm looking at on the timing monitor here, I can tell what the sim time is set to. So the race start was scheduled for around 5:10 p.m. and we are at 5:32 local time on the simulator here, which is set for Sunday, November 15, 2020. So expect
we're in the future.
So we're in the future. We're racing in the future.
88 miles per hour.
Yes. So racing very much in the future on what will be Bathurst 6-hour weekend, actually later in the year. Should it all go to plan, of course. Another 41 minutes and 30 seconds of motor racing coming your way here. Glenn Postlethwaite, Cal Watmore, Ben Snell, Michael Schreier. Then Chris Whittaker, the top 5. 9 seconds separates the top 5 at this point in time. Nick's got himself over the 7th spot. I don't have the statistics on who's doing what in terms of pit stops, but Nick would be one of the only few in that top 10 that hasn't stopped yet.
Myself and Brendan.
Brendan Whitaker is the other one.
Brendan Jackson right in front of me.
Brendan Jackson, rather. So, now, interesting to point out as well, we didn't mention this at the top of the call. We're too busy talking through the championship points and the other important information. There's a lot to consider when you go iRacing, of course. Pit lane speed limit is 72 kilometres an hour. That's a weird number. Pace car speed will be 97 kilometres an hour when it gets called. The incident count, incident penalties, 30, and then every 20 after that. So 30 for your first one and then 20 after that. And the DQ limit, there is no limit on that. So you can have as many incidents as you like. You can serve as many penalties as you like, but there's no risk of disqualification. Fast repair limit, there's 2 of those available to the drivers tonight. Some have already used 1, it's fair to say. Race order, have a look at Glenn Postlethwaite and Cal Watmore. That's the battle on your screen there, folks. It's only quarter of a second separating them right here, right now. Cal Watmore will fancy his chances here. He'll have a sniff at getting by Glenn Postlethwaite sometime in the not-too-distant future, you would suggest. This is where the race lies, and this is where our interest lies until that caution gets thrown. And then, how many people take the stop and try and run a full tank of gas right through to the end of the race? How many will get balked by the caution and not be able to run right through, and then therefore end up having to do a splash and dash? A lot of strategy to play out here. And the other thing too is that caution rule that we've got, there's no caution in the final 10 laps. So we go green all the way through. That could hurt someone here in the long run as well, as we've seen in weeks gone by. Round out of the Lukey Heights and hairpin section of the circuit, round turn 11 on the run to turn 12. We're watching Cal Watmore. Oh, you're riding on board with Cal Watmore. You're watching Glenn Postlethwaite as they come round on the main straight. There's another lap in the books. Over 20, almost 21 minutes of motor racing in the book, in the bank. So, 2 cars coming to pit lane. Nico Pop is one of them. The 99 is heading to pit lane.
Nice empty pit lane. I can see my guy. I won't muck up my pit stop.
Ha. Yes, very important that you don't do that.
No tyres.
No tyres. Interesting. I'm just getting some. Tim is having a spin on the screen that I'm having a look at the moment. I was just getting some trading paints here actually, that I wasn't getting the right liveries on my screen. So I was just trying to update all of that. And as I did that, I saw Timmy Weir having another spin, not the first time tonight. There's the battle between Todd Parks and Ben Snell at the moment on your screen there as they head into. Paul, your thoughts on the race so far from a steward standpoint?
Yeah, I'd be the same too.
I was going to say, Paul's not available to us at this point.
Oh,
there you are.
Pick out for a pit stop.
Oh, no.
Oh, man.
Trouble, 0. That's nasty. 2-3 cars involved in all of that. Everyone's been able to get back underway. Trouble at Honda Corner. Tim Weir caught up as well. Didn't quite catch everyone that was involved. Nick, you got through that, not unscathed, but not with damage. So that was a good thing. A couple of other cars around you pretty well crunched up, though.
Well, rule number 1, if you spun on track or something, hold the brake, and some guy rolled into me, so not happy about that.
Yeah, fair enough too. Up over Lukey Heights on the run down to turn 10 here. I was just saying, and you've just got muscled out there by Timmy Weir as well. Back to our leaders, Glenn Postlethwaite and Cal Watmore. 0.5 of a second is all that separates them at this point in time. I was just about to make a comment about how clean the racing had been. And apart from that opening couple of laps, and then that happens at Honda. And if trouble's going to happen both during the race and on the restart, it's going to be Honda Corner. There's no doubt about that. So, interesting experiment, this one tonight. 22 and a half minutes of racing in the book. Maybe closer to 24 now as the field make their way into turn 10. This is Postlethwaite and Watmore. They're 10 seconds clear of the rest. It's a race of two tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Schreier, Whitaker, Collins, Whitaker, McLaughlin, Wave, Ren Hills and Payne, the top 10. And there is the special livery being run tonight by the 79, of course. I don't need to tell you what that says. You can see it for yourself. And we'll get the boys to explain all of that a little bit later on as well. So the two Whitakers, you're riding with Brendan at the moment. It's 79. He's sitting in 6th position. Chris Whitaker 2 positions up the road in position number 4. Sam Collins in between in position number 5. Doadrift Esports, of course. The broadcast commentated on by Nick, Paul and myself. Produced and directed by Robert Hazeldine. And we've got more of the same coming up in the next couple of weeks. Nick's in all sorts of traffic and trouble at the moment. He was having a real difficult time trying to find a clean way by Tim Weir. That we'll come back to him very shortly.
There's a, just on that, Zach, I've never heard anyone say that I've produced or directed anything before. It feels good. So when I was back at law school, I actually did a class on movie production and things like that. And my lecturer told me to quit law and get into production, and I didn't do it. So if I know he's not watching this right now, but if I can record this later and show him, I'm sure he'll be very happy.
I'm sure he will be indeed, mate. Nicely done.
Glenn Postlethwaite's.
Right, yeah, so Glenn Postlethwaite's in the lane. So that'll be stop number 2 for Glenn, won't it? Because he's already been in once. There's we've just picked up Chris Whitaker on our screen right here, right now. There's another car going into the lane too. So Glenn Postlethwaite's in. Cal Watmore takes the lead of the race. Chris Whitaker's going to move into 2nd spot. Michael Schreier's the other car that's coming to the lane there as well, Paul.
You must be able to make it from here.
Yeah, putting tyres on, definitely.
So this is all unfolding quite interestingly at the moment. Of course, there's John McLaughlin further back in the field. He's sitting 7th at the moment. We'll focus on John a little bit later. We'll get him into the chat room. We're following Chris Whitaker. Car around at Honda. How many cars have come unstuck at Honda Corner tonight? If you're going to come unstuck, it's going to be a Honda, as I've said all along. And that car is now able to resume, only to loop it again and go the other way back onto the grass. So this caution is going to be interesting because it's now at a point where Glenn Postlethwaite's already stopped twice, so he's going to put himself. He can do. Where are we in terms of lap numbers?
17.
17.
So I think he can get
in
up.
a position where, yeah, he can get home. Okay. Now it's interesting because normally we get a caution before this point of the race, so it must be soon. Otherwise we'll be going caution free.
We have Cal Watmore into the lane as well.
So Cal Watmore in. So we continue to watch Glenn Postlethwaite, Brendan Whitaker and Trent Lavis on our screen now as well. Whitaker got it crossed up going into the...
Trent's worked his way up to what is this, position 6? I'm sure, if that's not right, I'll update in a second anyway when he goes past the start finish.
It'll be P5 as he comes down the main straight because Glenn Postlethwaite moves into position number 4 now ahead of Brendan Whitaker, who's down in the lane. And that's a great result. So too Sam Collins in the lane right now.
Position 4
for Trent Davis. But I'm sure he's got another stop to come as well. Chris Whitaker, Cal Watmore 1 and 2, Glenn Postlethwaite 3, Trent Lavis in 4 at this point in time. I'm now able to... I'm still having trouble with trading paints, but at least I've got the right liveries on the right feed on the Doadrift feed that's coming through via Discord. So bear with me, folks. There might be a couple of mistakes made along the way here. Cal Watmore and Glenn Postlethwaite. Have a look at this. Neck and neck. And they have both stopped twice, but it's now Cal with the advantage. Postlethwaite was crossed up going through Siberia. and Cal Watmore, the up and under, the undercut has worked. And Glenn Postlethwaite is now chasing Cal Watmore for the effective lead of the motor race.
Zach, would you say this is one of the first times we've had to see Glenn work at this for a while? In a few.
Oh, absolutely. As they hit Loopy Heights, this is the first race that he's really had to work for because Cal's been right there all race. He's been either 2 car lengths in front or 3 car lengths behind. There's been no margin between them. Unlike other weeks where we've seen Postlethwaite just cruise, this is the one that he's really going to have to work for tonight, and Cal Watmore will ensure that he does. If he wins it tonight, Glenn Postlethwaite, it'll be 67 weeks, but quite Julie have earned it. As Watmore continues to lead the margin, 0.5 of a second. 0.5 of a second after 19 laps, they hit Doohan Corner for the first time. So, into the Southern Loop. The next one will be Stoner Corner, then Honda Corner. Of course, the main straight here is Gardner Straight, named after the 2-time Australian Grand Prix winner Wayne Gardner. Mick Doohan's spinner there on the exit of the Southern Loop. Didn't pick up who that was. But look at this. This is an epic scrap between the 2 best when it comes to these cars. Glenn Postlethwaite and Cal Watmore. What a win it would be for Cal Watmore after missing last week, and he was dejected to miss last week, but it was, good reason to miss it. Brock Payne's just had a big one on the main straight. He's come unstuck and hit the wall on the main straight as we continue to ride on board with Glenn Postlethwaite. What a night this is turning out to be. Payne is stuck on the start-finish straight there, and that will trigger the caution. There it is. Oh, what timing.
Things just got spicy.
They certainly did. Here we go, folks. And this will be it. There will be no cautions after this. This will be it. Bang. Nick Windsor's just found the wall at Siberia. Under the caution. Brock Payne gets back going. Safety truck on the circuit. Field about to be bunched back up. The message I got, Paul Nichols has thrown the yellow flag. So there it is.
That was the random number.
And that was very close to the 20s. So very well done, boys. You've thrown that bang on.
A random number generator got that number for us.
Yeah.
I've after we just saw that yellow flag come out, I don't know if you saw the flaggy on the side. After that, the flaggy at Daytona waving it like the iRacing guy. I can't help notice the iRacing flag style.
It's unique, isn't it?
It's very unique. I asked the local QMSO, the local flaggies for Queensland.
Yes.
Steve Buchanan, if when they get back, they're going to start waving the flags like that. I think there was a lot of doubt.
Enthusiastic.
A lot of doubts in the answer for that one. So hello to any of the great people from QMSO who are watching. Obviously, they're looking forward to getting back out to the track soon.
Absolutely.
Hopefully, they're enjoying some of the iRacing we've got running in the meantime.
And a big welcome to everyone else that's tuning in as well right around the country. Still 32 of you watching via Facebook Live at the moment. Not sure what the Twitch numbers are, but one thing I will say, when it comes to flag waving, no one betters the great Glenn Dix. Remember him waving the checkered flag at Phillip Island when Wayne Gardner won the Grand Prix back in 89 and 90? No one beats Glenn Dix when it comes to flag waving in this country. The great men. So Cal Watmore, Glenn Postlethwaite, Michael Schreier, Chris Whitaker, and Kane Baxter-Smith. The top 5 is Zane Hill, Sam Collins, Brendan Jackson, Trent Lavis, and Nico Pop. The top 10. Brendan Whitaker, Ben Snell, John McLaughlin, Nick Windsor, and Justin Ford take us back to 15. That order may vary slightly as they come round. And we'll wait and see how that plays out. But Cal Watmore and Glenn Postlethwaite are going to be delicately poised, perfectly positioned for an epic scrap to the line right here when we get back underway. Kane Baxter-Smith is in the lane. I think Zane Hills might have followed him in. 2, 3 cars heading to pit road. And this could actually disadvantage them in the long run. It is only a 30-lap race. And we said that one to go this time, round 2, by the way, the flag being held stationary as they cross the start-finish line. the random generator always disadvantages some people and advantages others, Paul. It's a really luck of the draw sort of thing, as we say. And when you're trying to work out your race strategy, sometimes you're thinking about the caution and the random generator, but sometimes you're not. So 33.5 minutes of racing under the belt. Carl Watmore, Glenn Postlethwaite, Michael Schreier, Chris Whitaker, Sam Collins, the top 5. Brendan Jackson, Trent Lavis, Brendan Whitaker, and Ben Snell, John McLaughlin take us through to the top 10. For those of you playing along, you'll be happy to know that I'm set up in a studio here where I've got 4 monitors going because I couldn't help but have the football onto the right-hand side tonight. Of course, NRL fans, you've been waiting for this for 10 weeks. The game back underway. The Cowboys got the job done over the Titans earlier, but the Roosters leading the Rabbits at the moment. More footy updates a little bit later on as we go around the grounds, as they say. Speaking of around the grounds, I didn't get a chance to mention this at the top of the call, but the news coming through from Phillip Island earlier today wasn't good if you're a motorcycle fan, of course, with Dorna confirming that the British Grand Prix and the Australian Grand Prix for the World Motorcycle Championship have been called off, cancelled for 2020. Again, ongoing issues caused by this bloody coronavirus have resulted in both Grand Prix being canned for this year. Of course, Dorna come out earlier in the year. There was already doubt around the Australian Grand Prix today. It was confirmed. They come out earlier in the year and said that at this stage we're looking at running European-only races until November and then doing international or non-European races, so North America, South America, the rest, during November. So that's why Circuit of the Americas and the Argentine round, they've been pushed back. But unfortunately, the Australian round will not go ahead, and that's a real shame. It's the first time since it joined the calendar in 1989 that it won't go ahead. Oh, no, we've got trouble here under the caution. One car's come unstuck at turn 10. That was the 185 of Nick Windsor. He'll rejoin now. They'll get ready to go back racing. And as far as the British Grand Prix is concerned, it's the first time as the field get back to green here, folks. Racing again at the Phillip Island Grand Prix circuit. It's a battle between Carl Watmore and Glenn Postlethwaite over the closing laps here as they hit Doohan Corner for the first time. Under the restart here. And we are very much excited about what's to come. 9 laps to go. So this is lap 22 of 30. The random generator had the caution flag wave on lap 20. Now we get a clean 9-lap run to the checkered flag, and it needs to be clean if you're Carl Watmore or Glenn Postlethwaite. Chris Whitaker's in there with a chance, so too Michael Schreier. Round they come. Just to finish on what I was saying with the British Grand Prix, it's the first time in 71 years in the history of the World Motorcycle Championship that a British Isles race won't be featured in the championship. Can you believe that bit of history has been broken? Same with the Dutch TT. It's been a very bad year for world motorsport. Thankfully, however, we've been able to make the most of what iRacing allows us to showcase. And we're getting stock car racing from Phillip Island. So you might not get the bikes from Phillip Island this year, but you'll get the stock cars. And that's a nice little consolation prize. They head out of turn 11 one more time. Look at Postlethwaite all over the back of Watmore here. Track cam shows the story for you. Through turn 12, back around onto the main straight. 8 to go this time. Great racing here. We hope you're enjoying it wherever you're watching around Australia. To turn 1 they go. And if you're watching from further afield, be sure to let us know. Doadrift Esports Friday night. Stock car action from the island. And Carl Watmore's driving the perfect race thus far. Just an update on our mate Nick. Down in 17th at the moment. How are you faring down there, Nick?
I was up to 14th, sorry, but there was some silliness and had to avoid stuff, and yeah, I'm not happy.
Okay.
Diplomatic, Nick, aren't you? Very diplomatic. There was some silliness.
And very
I'm going to talk to you
off
off camera, Paul, about some of the stuff right now. I'm a little bit disappointed about what's going on, so we'll fix it for next week.
I'll save the replay and we'll check it in the stewards room for sure.
Thank you for all of that, boys. Brutal honesty from Nick right here on Friday Night Motorsport. And then he did it without swearing too, so well done. He's got experience at that. I'll be interested to get Chris Whitaker's comments though a little bit later on. If Nick's close to swearing, Chris will be. So just be advised, folks, we apologise for any adjectives that may slip out from these drivers in the post-race show this evening. Across the start-finish line once more. And Carl Watmore doing a great job here for Glenn Postlethwaite and Chris Whitaker. Paul, just going to you for a moment. Obviously, there's something for you to check post-race with what Nick's saying there. But from what we've seen thus far, what have you made of what you've seen?
Look, I mean, I think obviously restarts are always difficult in cars like this. So many cars on track, as we spoke about, tough track. We'll look at the replays and make sure that the Gentleman's Racing Club motto and mantra is adhered to. I think there's a couple of people being pushed aside, but we'll check it out.
Yeah, a bit of push and shove, muscle and hustle and hustle. That does happen in these restarts, and we saw it in the GT race on Monday night, a little bit of push and shove and argy-bargy as well. Nothing wrong with that, as long as it doesn't get too bad, too ugly. So, it's been fairly gentlemanly thus far. Let's hope it's the same for the remaining 8 laps here. Or 7 now. It's the field head through Siberia and then on to the hay shed and up into Lukey Heights one more time. We're watching the battle between Michael Schreier and Sam Collins, and they've got Chris Whitaker just ahead of them as well. So this is the battle for the final spot on the podium, and of course just ahead of them, about 2.5 seconds up the road, it's Carl Watmore and Glenn Postlethwaite. Further back in the field, Zane Hills has just copped a nudge from either Brendan Whitaker or Kester Ward. I didn't catch who it was. But Zane Hills is going to lose some time and some track position in all of that down at turn 10. Have a look at this, down onto the main straight. It's Brendan Whitaker and
John McLaughlin.
John McLaughlin there. I couldn't quite see the 17 because it's blue on a black and blue livery, and that's never pleasant. So they're going through into turn 2 now, the southern loop. And this is the battle that, we should talk about, because this is McLaughlin having found a way by Whitaker, 8th and 9th. So the incident that we were talking about there earlier with Kane Baxter Smith, it was, I think it might have been Brendan that gave him a nudge off the circuit there. But again, our stewards will look at that in detail a little bit later on. John McLaughlin almost left the door open. In fact, didn't leave the door open going out of Siberia. Side by side they go. Brendan Whitaker side by side with John McLaughlin on the outside through the H-chip. That won't serve you well. It didn't, and McLaughlin holds the spot. He holds on to 8th for the moment, but Whitaker's right there. Can he get close enough to put it down the inside going into turn 10? He's certainly going to have a look. And got it done. Did he? No. McLaughlin holds on the outside and then got it taily, then got it sideways, and Whitaker sweeps around the outside going into turn 11. The job is done, and Whitaker is into 8th. Geez, that was good racing.
Absolutely. Good respect.
Great clean stuff. Perfect example of what the Gentleman's Sim Racing Club is all about. Kester Ward back there in 10th at the moment, just behind this battle. I just saw him going over the start-finish line. It's just in review there now, folks. Interesting night at the office for him. There's a little bit of damage on the front guard there, so it might have been him that gave, Zane Hills the nudge. We'll wait and see. Again, the boys will have a look at the replay after the fact. We're in the closing stages. We're inside the final 5 laps. Kane Baxter Smith is sitting there in position number 11 at the moment, under tremendous pressure. Oh, no. Kester Ward's been turned around. Would you believe that? You just saw it on your screen there, folks. We've picked up the aerial shot of the rest of the pack now, but Kester Ward's been turned around. So Cal Watmore continues to lead Glenn Postlethwaite 7/10 of a second. Chris Whitaker, Michael Schreier, Sam Collins, Trent Lavis, Ben Snell, Brendan Whitaker, John McLaughlin. And it'll be, it won't be Kester Ward in 10th anymore. It'll be Kane Baxter Smith or Brendan Jackson in all of that. Trent Lavis, probably the driver of the night from down the order into position number 6 here. However, if Cal Waltwell can get the job done, your upstage going Postlethwaite, you've got to be doing something right. As Chris Whitaker found out a few weeks ago at the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve as well. This series is winding down. Only one event left, that is next week from the famed Mount Panorama Circuit in terms of the championship. There'll be some special non-championship stuff coming up on the other side. Looking forward to sinking our teeth into all of that and more. Gentlemen Sim Racing Club. So Cal Watmore, doing a tremendous job here. Is this the night that Glenn Postlethwaite works hard for a win or works hard for a second, Paul? How do you see it playing out from here?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's very close to the front, isn't it? So, well, I mean, it depends on what tyre strategy they have. If you want to ask them after the race. So,
that's right, yeah. 100%. That'll be one of the first questions we have to fire their way. This has been an epic scrap, and it's been a clean scrap as well. They have not traded a coat of varnish here.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's one of the great things about those guys running at the front there. They're driving hard, but also lots of respect.
They'll come out of turn 12 this time round. You're on board with Postlethwaite. He's following Watmore at the moment. They'll come out at 12 across the start-finish line. 3 to go this time, ladies and gentlemen. We're in the closing stages at the island. Prince Postlethwaite trying to find a way by Carl Watmore, and it's not working for him just yet. Chris Whitaker's got pressure coming from Michael Schreier. Sam Collins and Trent Lavis are still fighting over 5th and 6th, and then Ben Snell is clear of Brendan Whitaker, who's under pressure from John McLaughlin. Kane Baxter Smith is clear. Kester Ward remains 11th, but he's 8 seconds behind Kane Baxter Smith at the moment. So 4 positional battles unfolding in the top 11 here at this point in time. By gee, what a drive this has been from Carl Watmore. Look at this though, Michael Schreier and Chris Whitaker. That's the aerial shot of the battle for third. So all 4 positions are up for grabs here, folks. All 4 could change between now and the end. Such good racing. Really good stuff. Carl Watmore, Glenn Postlethwaite, Chris Whitaker and Michael Schreier, the top 4 at the moment. Sam Collins running out the top 5. There are going to be a lot of drivers to chat to post-race here. Do stick with us, folks. 2.5 laps to go. It's not done yet by any stretch of the imagination. Car off the circuit there at Lukey Heights. Not a car in contention. A car that was already out on the marbles there, giving way to the faster traffic coming through. And look at this now. Look at Sam Collins in 5th spot. Trying to close the gap to the cars in front. Being Schreier and Whitaker, and put the pressure on here in the closing stages. So Collins might yet get a chance to have a crack at 4th or 3rd. Just 2 laps to go. I don't know if he'll be close enough in that time. Depends very much on how much of a battle Schreier and Whitaker engage in during this penultimate lap. You're right on board with Schreier. There's Whitaker ahead of him. Whitaker goes deeper into Honda. Schreier closes up. Out of Honda to Siberia. Collins is right there now. Look at this. 3-way fight for position number 3. Closing stages of the motor race. Let's not forget about the battle for the front either, though. That's Carl Watmore and Glenn Postlethwaite. Less than half a second separating them as well. They're coming to the white flag this time by. There they are going into turn 10 this point in time. I think Watmore might have Postlethwaite's measure here, but he's still got a lap to go. He's still got a lap. He's still got a chance as Glenn Postlethwaite. And whatever happens, he's ahead of Whitaker, so he'll maintain the championship lead. Does he drive conservative? Does he have that racer intuition to just flick the stamp and send it? And say to Carl Watmore, I just wanted to save the best till last. Last lap board in the air. Watmore leading. Margin is 0.581 of a second. He's extended it by 1/10.5 over the last lap. And they're hitting the southern loop for the last time. How good's Friday night motorsport from the island been tonight? Just after 6 o'clock track time. A reminder, the track conditions set to Sunday, November 15, 2020. So that's what we're playing with here at the moment. And Possum White now tries to go around the outside at Honda. Have a look at this. Chance was there. Didn't capitalise on it. Watmore had the inside run going out of 4, and that set him up beautifully to hold the lead for 5. But Possum White hasn't given up yet. Closing stages, 5 corners to go through the hay shed. Carl Watmore, the new father. Of course, that's why he wasn't with us last week. And he's holding off Glenn Possumwaite, who's been the champion of this championship so far, and remains the leader irrespective of whether he finishes first or second tonight. Look at the aerial shot. Battles for first and second. Battles for third, fourth and fifth. 2 corners to go. Carl Watmore's done a tremendous job tonight. Held second right throughout the first 2 stints. Leapfrog Glenn Possumwaite in that second pit stop exchange. Went in a lap later, come out in the lead and stayed there after the caution. And it's Callum Watmore who gets the job done on a Friday night at the island. What about that? His first win of the series. 1.3 the margin in the end of Glenn Possumwaite. Chris Whittaker in for third. And only by 0.2 of a second over Michael Schreier and Sam Collins. What a charge home to 5th. Trent Lavis 6th. Ben Stell 7th. There's Brendan Whittaker going by the line in 8th. John McLaughlin should be the next time in 9th and is. And then Kane Baxter Smith in for 10th. But the win to Cal Watmore. And you could argue, Paul Nichols, that the win was achieved in that second round of pit stops. The fact that he came out ahead of Glenn Possumwaite right at the time that the caution was thrown. All he had to do then was drive consistently, watch his mirrors, hold off Possumwaite. He answered the challenge, he handled the pressure, and he's earned one hell of a race win here tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, what have we got? Top 5 within 8 seconds. And Cal and Glenn Possumwaite 1.3. And Cal had to deal with some back markers kind of getting his way at the end there. I called a blue flag just to make sure the back markers knew that the leaders were coming past them. So great job to Cal, Glenn Possumwaite, Chris as well. Awesome job.
Indeed. Now, just having a look here at a couple of notes that are coming our way. You've handed Brendan Jackson a 15-second post-race penalty, I've noticed.
Yeah, absolutely. Didn't redress on track. Took out, I think it was Trent at the time. I'm not sure, Trent or Ben or Trent, one of the... So, yeah, 15-second post-race.
Just having a look at some of the celebrations going on from our drivers out there. They're all having a little bit of fun now that the checkered flag has been waved. Oh, that was fantastic stuff. Justin Ford actually lighting the tyres up. I don't know if Rob can see any of this stuff that's happening on track rather than giving us a blank shot of pit lane there, but these drivers are just...
The boys are enjoying themselves, yep.
Hanging it, if you know what I'm saying, on the close down lap here. Burnouts and donuts and skids and drifts and everything else. And Cal Watmore has had an almighty celebration over there at, I think that might be Lukey Heights. Yeah, it is. Just at the top of Lukey Heights there, he's lit it up nicely. What an incredible performance that was. What an incredible race that was. Closest one of the season. When you look at the margins, 8 seconds separating the top 5. Phillip Island has delivered an absolute rip snorter of a race tonight. We cannot wait for more of the same in the coming weeks. Of course, Mount Panorama next week will be an absolute hoot for all concerned. Another 30. Yeah, that's right. Production cars are there as well.
Yeah.
Is it 25 laps for Bathurst for the stock cars?
Oh, I haven't got the schedule. I have to check with Nico.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Okay.
we'll check it. Yeah.
Just to give you an update, of course, on all of that, 6th spot went to Trent Laver, 7th to Ben Snell, 8th Brendan Whittaker, 9th John McLaughlin, 10th came back to Smith. Outside, Zane Hills, who I'm watching light it up on the main straight here at the moment. Nicely done. Kester Ward, Justin P. Ford, Nick Windsor and Nick Pop made up the top 15, so Nick come home strong in the end. Brendan Jackson, Adam Lavis, Paul Jensen, Then, of course, Anthony Visma and Brock Payne made up the top 20 in all of that. Not a great result for Brock, but he did have that off-track excursion halfway through the second stint there. And Brendan Jackson, that will change, I guess. Actually, no, he might get away with that, actually. You're going to give him a 15-second penalty, Paul, but he's 18 seconds clear of Adam Lavis on our finishing order here, so he'll actually maintain 16th in all of that. Kind of the luckiest penalty in Australia. That's down to position 17, 18. Brock Payne rounded out the top 20. Then we go back. 21st was Reece Goldfinch. 22nd, Brady McHugh. That's unlike him. Brendan Jones, Ads Ariel, Tina Wilcock. Then the chicane man, Paul, in the 68. Then we got Todd Parks, Lachlan Gardner, Mark Butcher, and then Timmy Weir making up the top 30. Outside all of that, Scott Griffiths, 10 laps down. Warwick Sharp, 17 laps down. And Angus Cook, one of the earliest retirements from the race, on lap 3, 28 laps down. He finished in all of that. Plenty of drivers to chat to tonight. There's no doubt about that. I'll get to Kester Ward, Chris Whitaker, and Brendan Whitaker in just a moment. So too Benny Snell and Adam Lavis. But actually, I'm going to have to start with one of you guys because we had Bradley McHugh in the chat room and he's actually departed. I can't see him lighting up. Oh, actually, no, sorry. I've got him in the chat room here. Sorry. We'll get to Trent Lavis as well in a moment, but we do have Brady McHugh in the chat room, mate. I'm a little bit surprised. Tell us about your night because we saw you down there in position number 22. What happened?
Lap 1 happened, mate. Yeah, just got
at the Honda corner.
Yeah, got a punt there from behind, just trying to be careful under brakes, obviously not take anyone out in front, and Michael just went too deep under brakes and spun us, and then I just was trying to not come back on the track in front of anyone. So yeah, pretty disappointed with that, to be honest.
To be honest, it's a hard corner if there's, a whole flock of cars going into the corner. You come unstuck. It's hard to get back onto the track cleanly without going to the grass on the inside, and it's obviously cost you a hell of a lot of time. Up until that, mate, it went really well with qualifying in 4th. But once the damage was done, it was a bit hard to redeem it, wasn't it?
Yeah, I was probably not in a good headspace after that and was pretty angry and just started driving like crap, which you can't do in these cars. As soon as you overdrive them, you just cook tyres. And then, I was basically a lap down after that with a safety car and things like that. So it's just a bit annoying. Like lap 1, I'm trying, we didn't have the pace of Glenn and Cal. They were quicker than anyone tonight, and I knew that. So to lap 1 to be driving down there like that, I'm pretty annoyed, to be honest.
Yeah, fair enough too, mate. When you look at the greater scheme of things, though, obviously that's racing. Sometimes that happens. It's but I want to focus more on your mindset after that. You said yourself, you just admitted there. Started driving like crap because you were frustrated, you were infuriated. It's very hard to put an incident like that to the back of your mind and press on knowing that the damage has already been done and your race is essentially screwed on the opening 4 corners.
Yeah, correct, mate. And I should know better. I mean, I do it in real race car too. I get frustrated and start overdriving. So
haven't we all
it's just
done
a
that?
matter. It's just a matter of trying to take a few deep breaths. And once I was sort of back there, I just was doing silly things and sliding the car too much off the corners and. Just a mindset thing and something I probably need to get better at and remember it is sim racing as well. So
For sure. What's next in terms of your sim racing assignments, mate? Is it Sunday night or Monday night?
I'm actually doing the National Formula Ford Series racing in the Formula Renault. So that's at Monza this week on Sunday. So that should be fun, a bit of racecraft and stuff like that. And some really good young guys coming through National Formula Ford at the moment, Hunter McElroy and that, and a few really quick guys that are fun to race with. So that should be good on Sunday night. And then I'll probably jump into Nick's birthday bash after that as well.
For the Indy 250 as we're labelling it. So that'll be good fun, mate. Fantastic. Thank you for the chat. Stick around, enjoy what's to come because we might get a chance to come back to you at some point here But let's turn our attention to where it needs to be, ladies and gentlemen, and get our hands out and smash them together for the race winner, because Carl Watmore's put in an awesome drive tonight. That's a nice way to celebrate not being on the grid last week, mate, and congratulations on becoming a father as well.
Well, mate, thanks so much. That's a pretty
congrats, Cal.
Cheers. Yeah, feels like a relief, like a monkey off my back. To finally get one over Glenn, who had awesome pace. I was close to him, but yeah, I took some liberties. Well, I was pretty aggressive with that little shortcut out the pits, the pit exit that dumped right onto the racing line into turn one. And I knew he'd have a big head of steam, and I was a bit cheeky in the mirror and just moved over on him a bit enough that he gave me one for sure. Gave me a bit of a freebie there. Just getting out of the pit.
Mate, we know as much as you loved the reason for missing last week, and will continue to for the rest of your life, we know that you were disappointed to miss Watkins Glen last week. It must be nice to come back and conquer Phillip Island.
Yeah, absolutely. I was, it's great to be a dad. Thanks for that. But yeah, last week while we were waiting for Bub to come out, we had the internet at hospital, and I was watching the race, and it was really stinging because I had pretty decent practice pace at Watkins Glen. Wanted to be there, but that feels great to make up for it and finally.
We were slightly disappointed that you weren't better planned to take the sim setup with you, actually.
Just about could have, hey?
As soon as you said internet at the hospital, I'm like, why didn't you take the sim? No, mate, well done tonight. That was probably the best stock car race we've had all season. It was so good to see you and Glenn finally on even terms, racing toe-to-toe. The pit stop, you leapfrogged in the second pit stop, and then the pressure was on from there to hold him off on the restart. How difficult was it to navigate the last 10 laps knowing that he was right up your bumper?
Yeah. Well, I've actually been putting practice in the regular weekly series of these cars around mid-Ohio, which is a really low-grip, tiptoe sort of track. And at the end of during the second stint, I realised that I could keep up with Glenn, which when I could do that, it meant that my old tyre pace must have been pretty good. So when he pitted, I did the next lap, and then notice Glenn uses the push-to-talk button as a bit of a horn when there's back markers in his way. So it was on the horn, which meant he might have been getting held up. And I had a really attacked pit entry, both stops, and popped out, and somehow I was ahead, and thought, oh, all right, I'm taking this.
Something Paul wanted to mention in the post-race show was tyre wear, mate, because obviously that was a talking point going into the race, fuel management and tyre wear. Two-stop strategy tonight. What was your tyre strategy and all of that?
Yeah, I've got to thank my spotter, Ross, who was helping crunch the numbers and the strat. He's been working with me for the past few races, and we were pretty devoed to throw away motorsport the other week when we got the numbers wrong. My bad. I made the call. He's just riding along. But we worked out that the two tyre deal, which works at just about every other track, was not going to work around Phillip Island, where it's very tyre sensitive. Yeah, a couple of seconds extra stopped was more than made up with good grip level. And
also, I guess, mate, awesome circuit for these cars. A circuit that, when you look at it, it's got a little bit of everything. It's a fast-flowing circuit. There's some tight corners. What would be, and Paul and I were trying to work this out earlier because I couldn't figure out whether it was a Road America or a Infineon Sonoma, California sort of comparison to draw here. Which circuit, being the NASCAR enthusiast that you are, would you best say fits the bill for comparisons to Phillip Island?
Wow, very interesting question. It's pretty unique. I honestly don't like it. When I used to be a Supercar back in 2012, but going a long way back, I always struggled here, so I wasn't looking forward to coming here. Just the pace that I've found with these cars. I've got my nice new fancy wheel, something just clicked. So yeah, over the moon.
All right, mate, stick there. We'll come back to you because we've got about 127 people in the chat room to have a chat to at this point in time. And I'll start working my way through here. Dario, I'll go to you because the fan club will be waiting for me to chat to you, and then we'll come back and have a chat to the rest of the podium in just a moment. Let's have a look at your result there tonight, mates. I'm just trying to find 24th, so an improvement on last week, given the size of the field was bigger than last week. 2 laps down in the end. How'd you find Phillip Island? You there, Adam?
Yeah, I'm here. You got me?
Yeah, I got you now, mate. Sorry, we just lost you there at the start.
Yeah,
What'd you make of Phillip Island tonight, mate? Well done.
It was really, really hard to stay on the track.
We're just having a look at some of your footage being replayed now across the live stream, and we noticed that you had trouble with a few different corners. But again, relatively new to sim racing, still learning the car, let alone learning the circuits as well. It's a big challenge, isn't it?
Yeah, like it's brand new to it. So what can you do? You just got to put in the hours.
Exactly right. And how much time and prep did go into this week?
Absolutely nothing. I just started a new job that was 60 hours a week. So.
There you go, the Trent Waves approach to iRacing. Very well done. Hey, look, mates, obviously next one's the Holy Grail Bathurst. You must be looking forward to that.
Yeah, I'm just going to keep it straight as much as I can and see what happens.
Excellent, and well done as well, because from what we saw tonight, you always gave way to the faster cars coming through, so you didn't impede anyone from what we saw, mate, and that's one of the key things about the back market. Sometimes they make or break the race, and tonight you went a long way to making it a far better spectacle. So well done for that, and thanks for having a chat to us.
Yeah,
we'll move along. And I mentioned a moment ago, Trent Lavis, let's bring him in here just for the moment. Position number 6, and then let's go and work our way through the rest of the top 6 here as well. You've just gone out, mate, and grabbed yourself a spiced rum to reflect on what's been a pretty awesome night at the office. And I mean, yeah, okay, probably maybe not the result you wanted, but certainly from, again, starting not at the top of the order, starting down in 30th, that's a big gain across the course of, what was it, 50 minutes of racing.
Yeah, mate. I have to thank, I definitely have to thank a couple of people on the way through, giving me a bit of space and being really fair on the way through. I had a really good run, a lot of fun, especially Nick Windsor, and there's a couple other guys as well that gave us plenty of room when I was rolling my way through. Even though it was for position, they were kind enough to slot in behind and try and pull through. So I have to thank those guys. If without those guys, I wouldn't be nowhere. So if they wanted to hold me up for a lap or two, I'd be buried, I reckon. But me and Benny Snell were like magnets. We've been bloody lying astern for the last 3 weeks, I reckon. We're, he's in front, then I'm in front, but they finally actually pipped him for one. So cop that, Benny.
We'll get to Benny in just a moment because he's in the chat room for the second time tonight. What was the traffic like in the early stages there, and what was your view of the carnage that unfolded at Honda on Right 1?
Oh, well, Benny was leading the way. He was like my little Moses, and I was just trailing him through. I was one of the disciples, so it wasn't too bad on the way through. I had the big Ford at the front, and I was just going to be the winger, just rolling through the back.
You certainly did a good job of it, mate. There's no doubt about that. Well done. Hang there. We'll come back in a moment because there's a couple of your teammates and the like to have a chat to. I'll go and have a chat to Ben Snell firstly, though, because when we look at the stats, you both moved up 24 spots, mate. You just couldn't pip him to make it 25. Talk us through the battle with Trent from your angle.
Oh yeah, great race the entire way along with Trent. The last few weeks where we've both been starting from the back and pretty much starting side by side every race as well. We've been finishing almost side by side. So I had a great start. I got past Trent and a couple other guys in the first lap, and then unfortunately just blew the second to last corner, dropped tyres off on the outside, and dropped about 4 or 5 seconds trying to gather the car up, and then quite reeled Trent back in throughout the course of the race, unfortunately.
Yeah, you were 4 seconds away by the checkered flag on our numbers there aligned. But, mate, obviously it's been a pretty good night at the office. The Mustang wing earlier, and now, of course, a 7th place finish here. Just having looked through the order, Best Award was the other big mover up from 34th to 12th. And Adam Lavis come up from 29th to finish 17th. No one else really moved up in a positive direction that fast. So well done to all of you for that. Paul Jensen was the other one, actually, up from 32nd to finish 18th, but everyone else, was there or thereabouts, maybe 3 or 4 positions here or there. talk to me though, because you and Trent, you've both been burning from the stern, as Nick calls it. Is that the same strategy for next week, or is qualifying a little bit more important in a concrete canyon like Mount Panorama?
I'm still going to send it from the back. It's just way too much fun.
Okay.
I don't quite have the pace of Cal and Posy and those guys. I'm about a second a lap off. So to start from the back and work my way through to naturally where I'd finish, which is around that top 5 to top 10 mark, is quite enjoyable.
And what about you, Trent?
I haven't decided yet. I actually might give a crack at qualifying because I've got a bit of a knack around the old Bathurst
All right.
track, so I might be able to give them a run for their money next week. We'll see what happens.
Let's hope so. And it'll be good to see. Hang there, boys. Thanks for having a chat to us so far. Glenn Postlethwaite, it's very rare that I welcome you in as the man that finished second. You've won 5 of the last 7. But that was an epic scrap, and we knew that whatever the outcome tonight, whether you're first or second, you had to work very hard for it. Well done.
Yeah, thanks, mate. First of all, congrats to Cal. That was a great race. It was certainly a tough drive from either one of us, I'm sure. So.
Indeed. Now, talk us through, because for the opening 2 stints of the race, you had the lead. Cal just picked you on I think it was the overcut. He went 1 lap later than you did in the second stint and then reaped the reward of it. Talk us through the closing stage of the race, trying to find a way by and how difficult it was.
Yeah, I said to myself at the start I wanted to make sure I got no incidents to get the 5 extra points, because I believe that wraps up the championship for me. So that was probably the main focus. Yeah, I wanted to get a good start and try and just lead and not get like too much risk. And then I think it was the second stop when on my out lap I caught a lapped car and I had another 2 cars off the track in front of me, and I just sort of think I lost a couple of seconds there trying to get by cleanly. And yeah, he just pipped me coming out of the pits there. So I wanted to have a go at him, but I just didn't want to risk it. So I just tried to push him. I hope he made a mistake, but he just held it together like a champ.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, absolutely. No, it was a cracking race. And I take it that, judging by the sound of your voice, you're not dissatisfied with second, because the focus was on getting the clean race and other things as well. And I go so far as to say that you're someone that enjoys the challenge rather than by 10, 15 seconds as you have done in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, it's definitely. I'm obviously disappointed because I wanted to win it. It's probably one of my favourite tracks, but I sort of felt like I didn't put a foot wrong really all race. I just was a bit unlucky there that happened to run. So it's just one of those things. I'm glad it was a good race. Cal's been really quick lately, so I've been enjoying the battles. It's much more fun having a competition like that. So.
Exactly. Well, you, both of you, the 2 of you, didn't put a foot wrong all night, raced wheel to wheel, did so cleanly, fantastic effort. And again, it was less than a second until you got it sideways on the main straight there on the run to the line. But an incredible battle from the 2 of you. Hang there in the chat room, boys. We'll come back to you very, very shortly. Third on the podium, last spot on the podium tonight, and he had to work hard for it in the closing stages as well, with Michael Schreier hunting him down, and so too Sam Collins hunting them both down. Was our mate Chris Whitaker. Mate, not an easy week for you, and I want to touch on the delivery in just a moment, if you'll oblige with us. But talk to us about the race from your angle, because we felt as though Nick was getting frustrated behind the wheel to the point where he wanted to swear there earlier and had to restrain himself while he was on air. So we thought if Nick's wanting to swear, you might want to swear, so we'll just put a language warning before this one as well.
Hey, good on you. I'll be good. I'll try to anyway. But yeah, in terms of the race, I was pretty happy with where I ended up. Again, Posy and Cal out in front, just absolutely epic pace. And Cal, obviously, congratulations. About bloody time he got a win there. So that was a good effort there. And from sitting back in 3rd position, it looked like it was a pretty good scrap between the 2. But yeah, credit to both Posy and to Michael for the fuel saving there as well. I actually didn't think they were going to make it home. So I was sort of just, I guess, obviously I had a bit of a lob at Michael at the start on turn 1, on the restart at turn 1, thinking he's probably going to want to jump in behind us here and save some fuel. But and he was pretty kind there, I think. But yeah, all in all, it was pretty good race, and Posy just broke my heart telling me that he got 0 incidents because I got 0 as well. So I was hoping I was going to wind a few more points in, but that is what it is. These things happen. So all in all, race went about as good as I could have hoped for, I think.
Let me just have a look here. Brady, I'm just having a look here, and Nick might be able to correct me if I'm wrong, but on the entry server where it says INCS, I believe that's incidents, yes, Nick?
Correct.
Yeah, so 20 for Brady McHugh, unfortunately for him, but most of them were achieved on the opening 4 corners of the race. Alan Archer with 0, Pete Dunham with 0, Chris Whitaker with 0, Julian Muckey with 0 as well, so too Craig Russell, Glenn Postlethwaite, of course, we've already touched on. Joe Baldwin with 0 and Chris Polly with 0. I know we had a couple of drivers not start there, but yeah, a lot of zeros in amongst all that. So that's not.
I think I might have been 0 until the last lap as well. Mate.
Yes, I was thinking that might be the case, Cal. Yes, there were some low numbers there for the bulk of the fields. So where are you? Yeah, 7. If that's the case on the last lap, you've had a very, very rough last lap. No,
those burnouts afterwards.
Oh dear. Hey, Chris, let's come back to you for a moment. We were talking to Glenn and Cal about the fuel strategy and the tyre strategy. What was your plan of attack?
Yeah, it was a similar thing to what Cal was saying earlier on. I did a bit of practice today. I was lucky enough to have the day off work again, so stuck a couple of hours in today and had a look at what we were going to do with tyres more so than anything else, and found exactly what Cal was saying. To just do the right sides only. You just didn't get the yield. Unfortunately, myself and Michael got caught up in a bit of traffic once we took those new boots, but so didn't really get the net gain initially on that first stop. But there was no way that I don't think anyone could have gone through just taking a set of 2 at the end there and have any reasonable pace.
Fair enough. Talk to us about the closing stages, trying to hold off Michael Schreier, but then do enough to also not let Sam Collins catch and overlap the pair of you because he was bearing you down.
Yeah, no, exactly right. I was watching the relative here and there, just trying my best to sort of keep eyes forward, but I just looked at my phone there and we're showing 18 degrees outside. I think it's a little bit chillier than that, but I've got the fan on and I'm covered in sweat, so I think that answers the question.
Well, I was going to say, actually, it's interesting that it was the race conditions were set to 5 p.m. on a November Sunday afternoon at Phillip Island, and it was still only 18 degrees. It goes to show you that Phillip Island is cold all year round. There's no doubt about that. And, mate, I know it's been a difficult week for you, hence the livery. If you want to, feel free to just elaborate on the livery of choice tonight and the touching reason behind that.
Yeah, for sure. So, unfortunately, last Friday, a good mate of mine from school was diagnosed with an incurable brain tumour. So, I found that out on Saturday morning, which sort of come off the high of last weekend's effort was. Obviously, fairly depressing is probably words to use there. So, I mean, what can you do in that instance? So, there's nothing I can really do for him. So I figured, look, we'll do what we can to show the support, and mixed it up. Instead of doing the Z car livery for tonight, we decided to go with the FU cancer with another little logo in the middle there, and thanks to Kester and Trent as well for coming on board with that, and I think they had on the bonnet, so I'm not sure if that elsewhere, but it's a trying time, but Nick actually sent me a message with 12 laps to go. He had to hit the hay. He couldn't stay awake, but he was watching the coverage and got a couple of screenshots, and I was pretty impressed with the show that we put on.
Indeed, as we all were impressed with the show you put on, and I guess our sympathies are with you and your friends and everyone else associated at this point in time, mate. It's I mean, what can you say? Especially when it's incurable. I mean, there's not much you can do, but anything that you can do in terms of lifting spirits or showing support is no doubt greatly appreciated. Was Paul or Nick just going to chime in there? I saw one of you light up on the chat thing here.
No, just me, yeah. Thoughts with you, Chriso, yeah, condolences, and thinking of him, and
You guys are a fair dinkum bunch of gentlemen. There's no doubt about that. And anyone that's watching at home, you're hearing here right now that this is what the Gentlemen Sim Racing Club is all about. There's, yes, we get serious when we get on the racetrack, but there's a lot of love and care behind the scenes as well. Chris, we'll come back to you a little bit later on, mate, because I want to get your thoughts. Obviously, we've got a couple of big events coming up. We've got Sunday night, we've got Monday night, but then, of course, all eyes are on next Friday night as well, the double at Bathurst. So looking forward to that. Well done. Michael Schreier, I'm just having a look here. Michael Schreier was fourth. He is in our chat window as well. That's good. Michael, there's so many names here at the moment, I'm getting lost. Michael, tell us about the closing stages, because you had your front view full of the rear of Chris Whitaker's car, and you had your rear view mirror full of Sam Collins that was hunting you down.
Yeah, that was a tough battle there towards the end after the safety car. I just bagged them up, total wheel spin, and yeah, Chris just got the run on me, and I just let him have it on the outside. There wasn't no point fighting for it, because I reckon I probably would have run him off the road. So we didn't want that to happen. And pretty much, yeah, it was just a great battle towards the end there. And we just had to fuel save quite a bit there. But if we didn't have to fuel save, we probably could have pushed on a little bit harder.
There are some parts of this circuit, as we saw during the race, where running 2x2 is extremely hard, yeah?
Oh, definitely. It's just the understeer into the corners mainly. Like, you don't want to be on the inside or outside, really. You got to have huge confidence in the guy next to you. And the guys up the driving pretty well. So it's been just tough getting through the traffic, but it's the same for everyone.
Yeah, the old cojones, as they say. Talk to us about the strategy from your standpoint, and obviously the race itself, because when you hear someone like Carl Watmore, who loves his stock cars, say, I wasn't actually looking forward to this circuit, it makes you wonder how everyone else was faring coming into the proceedings. What did you make of the night?
Actually, really looking forward to this race, mainly due to driving the V8 there a lot. Yep. But you just relearn the track totally driving this car, and yeah, you just find time in different areas. But yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it towards the end there. It was good, good competition. I just want to apologise. I'm not sure if it was Brady at the start, coming into Honda. I don't think I overcooked it. I don't know if it was netcode or something, but still, There was contact there. There was nothing on my screen.
Yeah.
No 0 times or anything like that. Nothing came from race control, so I'm not too sure what the go is there, but just want to say sorry anyway.
I was going to say, I think our good mate Paul Nichols will have some footage to look over at the end of this race regardless. But yeah, again, racing incidents, and the worst thing about iRacing is sometimes that net code can be the biggest downturn in the caper. But no, well done, Michael. Terrific performance from tonight. Let's quickly jump around here, because there are a few drivers still that we've got to chat to. Adam Lavis, I'll come to you, and I'm just going to work my way down the order here right now. From the back of the field, 29th into 17th. Tell us about the drive through the field, mate.
It was much more than 29th to 17th. That's probably the most incident field race I've had since I started.
Well, it said 29th on the grid. That didn't mean that that's where you, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Talk to me about it, because it was, for some, a little bit more incident and hectic, packed racing than others. Some had a very clean run. Others were right in the thick of the action. By the sounds of what you've just said there, you were one of them.
Well, Kester was right behind me, and he got through clean, whereas I got taken out pretty hard. So I had one guy rejoined the track at turn 2 and biffed me and someone else off the track. Then before I even got to turn 3, there was another accident which gave me suspension damage. I had to do my first stint with a heavy steering wheel. Yeah. And then there was another point before the stint. There was one of the cars was really bad netcode. He was blinking and netcoding.
Yep.
And I got up the inside of him in Siberia, and next thing I know, I got an incident point, and he's sideways going through my windscreen.
Yep. So in other words, to summarise tonight in one word, frustrating would be the right word, yeah?
Oh, it was a bit like that at the start, and then I had to be a little bit wily with the strategy to get back. So I was a lap down, did my first stop, and then I was like, the safety car hadn't come out yet, and Trent had done the calculations, reckon we could do 13 laps. So I was like, you know what, 14 laps to go, I'm going to stretch it with the safety car. I got to pit before the safety car, therefore I get my lap back. and actually helped me out. So I actually got to start fighting Paul at the end there, and had a bit of at least got a relatively decent finish for what was a very hectic start.
Yeah, the late safety car threw a few things out of whack, didn't it? Not least race strategy, because there was a good mix of strategies tonight. Some were going short, long, short, long. Now, I mean, there were a few different strategies at play. From your standpoint, though, hitting before the safety car worked wonders.
That was probably the positive about the late safety car, because it threw that little spanner in the works of like, do I go in now, get the benefit of track position? I have to do a little bit of fuel saving just to get to the end. And I made it with about 1.5 litres left. So,
indeed. Thoughts on next week, Bathurst?
Well, in these things, that's gonna be one hell of a first lap.
Oh, I know. I'm already psyched up for it. It's going to be good fun, mate. Well
I'm already
done.
sweating thinking about the cutting.
Well, this is true too. That could be a blockage in the first lap.
And there's the Great, and there's Skyline, and there's the S's, and there's the whole track. Right? Everything even, until Conrod Straight, it's gonna be a smash.
All of the above.
All of the above. Trent, it looked like you were avoiding other people's incidents there at some point during the race as well, mate.
Yeah, I got like I said before, it was like the parting sea. Guys were having a few little bingles here and there. Obviously, a lot of the ones that I seen were seriously like just a simple little mistake. Like especially going into MG, these cars, if you don't lift off before the crest, you're definitely going to bin it. And some guys just left it a little bit too late. Tried to go to the inside, and there was a car there, and unfortunately took each other out, which is a shame. But these cars really make you think and really make you pull everything back. Like where you think you should brake, add 100 meters to it to start off with, because they're just such a big bus with a lot of horsepower, and they're a hell of a lot of fun to drive. When you get it right, it feels so good. Not quite up there with the Glens and the Cals of the world, but they make this stuff look easy. You look at their onboard laps, you're like, I'm doing the same thing, but they're a second and a half faster. Where do they get it? You don't know. But a lot of fun.
I think one of the things we're going to have to do before the next stock car series is get Cal Watmore and Glenn Postlethwaite to give us some tutorial videos that we can use to bring you guys up to speed and maybe narrow the gap, because it was first, second, and then the rest tonight as we worked out. Bathurst is going to be fantastic. We'll get to that in a moment. Let's dive in and have a chat to Zane Hills here, because the 97 finished in 11th after starting 14th. That's mid part of the field for much of the race, mate. Tell us about the night from your point.
I came into the race with no practice, and I had my computer overheat during practice, so I pretty much had no practice at all. Came to qualifying, had to start out, started in P14. There were a lot of crashes today that I found. Plus there was not a lot of grip. So I was drifting pretty much the entire course most of the race. That was a lot of fun. I mean, there are a lot of crashes. We can probably go back to Monday night at Daytona with Trent. So there was no NASCAR moment today, which would have been funny. But yeah, I had a bit of damage as well after all these crashes. But I tried to. I managed to make it across the line with like pretty much no fuel left.
There were a couple of guys that I was hoping we could have a chat to in the window tonight, namely Sam Collins, John McLaughlin, and Brock Home, but we haven't had them come into the chat room yet. But we'll endeavour to catch up with them next week in our coverage from Bathurst, because that'll be the end of the championship per se. Looking forward to some potential one-off invitational exhibition races on the other side as we expand the production car series for another few weeks as well. So stick around for that, boys. Looking forward to all of it. I'll come back to you in a moment, Zane, because you were right there with Kester Ward at the end of this race. There was only 2 seconds between you pair. And Kester, once again, it looked like you were getting yourself caught up in other people's incidents, mate.
To be honest, there at the start, it was actually all right. As Adam alluded to before, somebody went off through turn one, and luckily I saw them do it because they were hidden behind my A pillar. And when they came back in, they took out Adam and whoever he was battling with in front of me. So I just skated through, quite happily through there, and it was only the later stages of the race that I got caught up in anything.
That's what I was more referring to. The end of the race, just when you're settling into a rhythm, trying to track people down, you lost a few spots as a result of that, didn't you?
Yeah, I got spun into the hairpin then, and it was probably a good thing because it allowed me to actually look at my fuel, and I realised I'd actually short filled it, so I had to fuel save in the end there, which was so lucky I spotted that, or it could have been embarrassing.
Yes, that's exactly right. Could have been more so. In fact, is there anyone in here apart from obviously Glenn and Cal, because they didn't have any incidents? Is there anyone that didn't have some sort of trouble at the hairpin tonight? Because that was the trouble point, the drama action spot, wasn't it?
Chris Whitaker on 0.
Chris Whitaker on, yeah, okay, fair enough too. So everyone else, yeah, the hairpin brought the one down. Kester, talk to us about, because obviously we know about you and Trent burning from the stern. How much preparation did you get on Phillip Island this week?
Well, to be completely honest, less than usual, because I actually joined in the practice session later this afternoon because I was trying to get Trent and my liveries finished off. So I think I did 30 laps in practice, and that was literally all I've done around here in these. So it was interesting.
And running the support for Chris Whitaker on the bonnet as well of the car. We noticed that too right throughout the broadcast as well. What are your thoughts going into next week? Because obviously it's nice that we finish with some Australian circuits, but the holy grail of weights and stock cars around there, it could get ugly in the opening lap, as Trent alluded to a minute ago.
100%. I mean, it's going to be very interesting. It's not a track that you usually think of driving around there, and I'm certainly glad that we don't have to foot the repair bills, because I'm sure there's going to be some decent incidents. But I actually vote that Cal and Glenn have to drive MX-5s next week. I think that might be a fair battle then.
I like the sound of that.
They'll still be up the front.
Cal?
Yeah. I don't mind the sound of making the what they call the help videos.
Yeah. No, they want you in an MX-5 next week instead of a stock car.
I'll probably still have 4 wheels on it at the end of it. I don't like the chances of more than 50% of the field finishing with all their panels in.
Yeah, I don't like the sound of anyone finishing with no incident points either, but no, that's all good and well. We'll skip around here because Brendan Whitaker, you're the one that I haven't come to and had a chat with yet. That was not a bad run, mate. 8th spot. You weren't far away from Benny Snell, and you were a fair enough margin away from John McLaughlin and Kane Baxter Smith. Tell us about the night from your standpoint, because top 8, but there's probably more to the story than what I'm seeing here, which is where I'm looking at. It says 5 seconds of the car in front, 5 seconds of the car in behind. It would suggest that you had a lonely night at the office, but I assume it was anything but.
No, mate, I definitely made the night a bit harder on myself than it had to be with my own mistakes more than anything.
Indeed. Now, just having a look there. For some reason, my live feed has frozen on my laptop, and I'm still seeing highlights here on the screen, which is just as well, because I just saw Kester's getting turned around at Honda there a moment ago. I was wondering if we were still on air. We're having a look at highlights of your car on screen now, mate. Nicely presented as per usual. Same sentiments as Chris, as per usual, as we'd expect. What's the plan for delivery for next week for you boys? Are you just going to carry the one you had planned for Phillip Island over to Bathurst, or have you got something special planned for the mountain?
Top secret, don't give it away.
I was going to say, you can't ask him that. It's different every time. It's a guessing game.
Yeah, but I like to have some sort of intel.
I think I might know what it's going to be, but I'm not going to tell you either.
Yeah, good on you. All right. No support for the commentator. That's good. No, Brendan, talk to us. What's the plan of attack going into next week? Because we've had a mixed bag of results. Tonight was solid. What's the plan for next week?
Firstly, we'll definitely have a different livery for next week, if that answers your question.
Yes, I thought that might be the case.
Secondly, I think next week, lots of time behind the seats for the week, hopefully. Tough track. It's a hard car to drive. The guys up front are doing an awesome job. And the same thing, it's just a consistency. I'm struggling, just little mistakes, which ultimately at the end of the race, they all add up. So that's all right. It's good fun.
Indeed. Now, we'll come back to you very shortly, mate. Let's throw this around. For someone like Glenn Postlethwaite and Carl Watmore. Let's go to you boys for a moment. I'll start with you, Glenn. The traffic tonight, how'd you find it compared to some of the other race tracks that we've been on that aren't as open, aren't as easy to navigate when it comes to lap traffic? How'd you find all of that tonight?
Overall, it wasn't too bad. I just had a few moments with some people just obviously not seeing the blues, but it happens sort of everywhere, I guess. Usually I wouldn't be quite so cautious. I'd usually just send it anyway, but tonight I was trying to be a bit more careful, so it always makes it more difficult.
Yeah, it certainly was a more difficult night at the office for you, mate. I mean, as we say, you really had to work for second tonight, and the slightest slip up from Cal would have seen you take the win, no doubt. But Cal, talk to me about Mount Panorama, because very different circuit to Phillip Island. We know how revered it is, obviously. Everyone wants to win there. Everyone wants to race there. Everyone wants to visit that great, wonderful part of the central western New South Wales. When it comes to the racetrack, though, not the easiest place to overtake. And if you get stuck behind lap traffic at the wrong point of the circuit, it can really bring your lap unstuck. Being Bathurst as well, we're expecting more cars on the grid next week. What are you thinking as regards to how it could all play out next Friday night?
Yeah, first of all, awesome field size tonight. And I've got to say thanks to Chris for hosting a few practice sessions during the week. That's one thing that's tricky and would help everyone get up to speed. If we could get a few guys in some hosted sessions, but they're not free. They cost a couple of bucks to put up. So that was great. But, a couple of we were lucky. Me and Glenn weren't. Well, I wasn't. We were lucky and not too affected by the lappers. But a couple of guys' races, got affected a bit.
Yep.
For Bathurst, it's going to be Bunter Field again. And I don't know. I'll just have my eyes open and try and stay clean and see where we finish up. But it's not a favourite track of mine. I'm not ultra quick. Haven't really raced a series there.
Yeah,
I can drive the cars okay, so I'll just lean on that and see where we come out at the end of it.
Experience could serve you well in the long run, and of course, that could be the thing next next Friday night. Finding lap traffic at the wrong point. If you're in the middle of a battle, it could really change the shape of any particular positional battle. As far as the rest of the week's concerned, boys, we've really got some exciting racing coming our way. Trent, your thoughts? Have you had any chance to looking at Road America for Monday night yet?
No, I haven't done a single lap, and I probably won't until Monday. We'll see what happens. I want to jump on Nick's Indianapolis race. I reckon it's going to be a heck of a lot of fun. So I haven't done any oval stuff for about 3 years, so we'll see what happens.
Anyone else jumping in on Sunday night? We heard Brady McHugh say he was jumping in. Anyone else coming in on Sunday night?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm going to.
Paul's going to be in. Kester's going to be in. Excellent stuff. That will be a nice little dynamic change, of course, because when you think about American racing, you think NASCAR, you think IndyCar, you think sports cars. We've got the best of the lot over the course of the next week. There's no doubt about that. When it comes to, let's preview Indianapolis, Nick will bring you in. It is a special event. It's called Nick's Birthday Bash. It's an Indianapolis 250, so it's half the length of the famed 500, which would have been held this Monday morning had coronavirus not gotten in the bloody way. Talk to us about why you chose Indianapolis, why you chose 100 laps, and why you chose 55 cars as opposed to the traditional 33.
First one is I'm a massive fan of IndyCar and any form of open wheeler.
Yep.
Part two of that is biggest race on the planet.
Of course.
And obviously it's a relatively easy circuit, but it says 4 corners. They're all built the same, but they're not the same. There's all these little idiosyncrasies about ovals. We haven't run any ovals prior to that as an official club to this point, so I thought that as well.
Yep.
The 100 laps was more to fit into a time frame than anything else. Plus, I don't think everybody was going to sit through 200 laps after watching the Indy 500 on iRacing. I watched one particular split where a bunch of guys, I think there was only 3 cars that finished the actual race. So
Yeah,
out of
right
the
on.
full 33. And it's open to all club members. Hopefully, we're smart in our conduct on track, so it doesn't really impact the race. I got one of my friends on board with his business Motorfocus to come in and help sponsor provide some funding for it. So should be good. And it's a old car. I believe it's free. And I mean, Indianapolis Motor Speedway at the best of times, it's pretty. Even on triple screens, I've got it. It's still something. It's still a spectacle going into turn one with I think 5 stories of a grandstand there with everybody sitting in it. It's pretty damn cool. So for a one-day spectacle to have over 450,000 people in one area,
absolutely.
Nothing beats it.
Not at all. And I'm happy to report that I'll be here to commentate that one with you on Sunday night as well, folks. And of course, it'll be live right across the Doadrift Esports, be it Facebook or Twitch. So stick around for that. And just quickly too, it's a one-off event, and judging from what I've read, there's a special one-off event the club puts on every month. Yes,
that's the goal.
Yeah,
just for a little let your hair down. And one of the first events that we ran was earlier in the year. It was actually Paul Nichols and Pete Matson's birthday event. So, and that was a lot of fun. So that got televised. Also, they got broadcast as well. So I thought, what the hell? I'm doing it for myself.
Yeah, why not? Exactly. Now, looking forward to that on Sunday night. We'll be with you from 7 Eastern for that on Sunday night, folks, because the race starts is around, I think it's 7:30 or something like that, and we've got the line qualifying to lead into it as well. 2 laps rather than the usual 4, which is appropriate because it's a half-distance race, so half the qualifying length. I like the sound of that. And that first corner with 55 cars, that is, if we fill out the grid, that is going to be
correct.
No doubt about that.
The grid will be full, I guarantee.
The grid will be full? Excellent. I like the sound of that. Sunday night, you won't want to miss it, folks, right here, and we'll have the usual post-race show as well. Although we won't keep everyone up too late because it is, again, a school night for some and work night for others. As far as the IndyCars are concerned, who said, Glenn Postlethwaite said he was jumping in, so too Trent, and Brady McHugh also said he was going to jump in, but he's jumped out of the room. Nico, are you going to drive or officiate on Sunday night? What's your role?
It's a birthday bash, so it's driving time. It's
Excellent.
definitely driving time.
Good stuff.
Is it going to be no cry to your mum mode again like last night, Paul?
No cry to your mum. What are you saying, mate?
That was a heck of a lot of fun. That was a hell of a lot of fun last night.
It was good fun. It was awesome. Yeah, awesome racing.
Hey, Trent, when it comes... Sorry, Paul, I'll come back to you. When it comes to ovals, mate, what's your thoughts in terms of IndyCars? And obviously, we know everyone reveres Indianapolis, but how much experience do you have with the car on the circuit? Paul?
Talking to Trent on myself, yeah.
Paul, yes.
Yeah, I think it goes left.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, don't start right. No, right will cause a hell of a lot of carnage.
And that car's got downforce and 4 tyres, so that's my knowledge.
So, okay, so it's going to be interesting to see who can... I reckon Nick might be a chance to win this thing on Sunday night.
Well, you never know. We might work something out.
Yeah, exactly. It'll be good fun. Let's start to wrap things up here, folks, because we're almost at 10 o'clock and we've been on air since 6:30, so we're getting close to the end of the Doadrift time window on Facebook Live as well. He's only got a 4-hour limit there, I'm pretty sure. Any votes for driver of the day from Paul and Nick and Rob?
I'd certainly have to say Cal for the first win in the series. Definitely good drive. Awesome drive. I think he's 3rd in the championship from what I can see in front of me. So,
thanks so much. I love to throw them away. I figured out how to well and truly do that. It's so good to finally get one over.
Yeah, good drive. I think Glenn's got 6. Chris has got 1, and yourself, Cal, 1. So yeah, awesome job, man.
And if I hadn't said it, congrats to Glenn on the championship. Absolutely smashed.
I was going to say. Is that actual wrapped up now for Glenn?
Yeah, mate. So we got,
because I was going to say next week, if something was to happen, he was to come unstuck and register a DNF, it's not over, is it?
Well, I think Nico, it might be double points next week. Huh? I don't know. Just throwing it out there.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure I jumped the gun earlier.
I thought that might be the case. That's why I didn't say it. Anyway, one of my votes has got to go to Trent Lavis because when you look at the fact that he finished down in position number 6, he came through from 30th. He only got 7 incident points along the way. So from me, one vote's got to go to Trent. And I think obviously Cal's the other obvious choice with wrapping up an incredible race win and his first of the series, and to fend off the former man of the championship every step of the way to do it. No, well done to Cal Watmore from my standpoint as well. Nick, your thoughts?
It's a bit hard because I was behind the wheel.
True.
I might hand it over to Rob to take the vote there.
Okay, Rob?
Because he's got a better overview of what's going on.
Oh, now you put me on the spot. Now I've got to think about stuff.
Exactly. That was the whole point of it, mate. We set that up.
Are you awake?
I am. For those that didn't realise, Adam actually put a lot of effort into doing camera angles for both tracks, and we had them at the at Oran Park. They look fantastic.
Yeah, right,
And the idiot director here forgot to load them for Phillip Island, and you got to see a little snippet of them at the end there during the replays. So I apologise for that.
All right.
So, no, who do I think? Look, Cal obviously did an awesome job, mate. It was very hard to pull away from you and Glenn. So I definitely there. And if I had to take Nick's vote as well and vote somebody else, Chris Whitaker did a pretty good job as well. Again, it was very hard for me to pull between the battles going on at the front there between Chris's group and also Cal and Glenn. It was very hard for me to pull away to anyone else, especially towards the end of the race. So I got to give it to both of them.
No, I think you've nailed it there, Rob, because let's face it, that was the best race we've seen so far in the series for the stock cars. There were 2 big battles forming there, and there were 3 in the top 10 that we just couldn't take our eyes off. It was very hard to know where to look, wasn't it?
Definitely, and there was absolutely a bunch of drivers tonight I didn't get a chance to show on screen. So I do apologise. There's just so much going on that it was very hard to get through everyone. So as always, I'll do my best over the next event to try and get to everyone I can.
All right. Glenn Postlethwaite's just jumping out, which is a shame because I was going to ask him one more question, but I'll save that for Sunday night. Oh, no, actually, if you're still there, mate, I'll fire one more at you. Sunday night, thoughts on that? Because Indy cars, ovals, different kettle of fish to the stock cars and the road courses, and then also your thoughts on Road America for Monday night.
I think it's go fast, turn left, so I'll try that tactic.
Good idea.
And yeah, I don't know.
And I was going to say 100 laps is a lot of time behind the wheel compared to it'll go longer than the racing that we've had so far in the stock car series.
Yeah, I've never done it in Indy before, so never really driven there. I think I've done a few road races in the car, but that's about it. So it's going to be interesting. That's
nice new learning curve.
I've just got the robotic cruise control function set on my screen. Oh, you don't know about that?
No. Very good. Very good. We'll let you go on that note, Glenn. Looking forward to we didn't get the comment from you regarding Road America for the GTs. Are you joining us on Monday night as well?
Yeah, hopefully, as long as I'm around, I'll be there.
Beautiful.
I'm enjoying that series, so yeah, it should be fun.
Excellent. And Road America is a circuit in which we've enjoyed in the past as well. Now,
I got a question for Nico, if you're there, mate.
I'm here.
How did you feel after your new Rumble pack being installed for the last couple of races?
Well, I actually haven't got around to installing it yet. I'm still working it out. So that'll be a job for Sunday.
Fair enough. We look forward to
Are
it.
you looking forward for a bit of a bum tickle on Sunday, mate?
yeah, absolutely. I just got to work out the software and how to mount it. But
everyone will be shunting Nico on Sunday towards the end of the race.
Indeed. Now, I was going to say, by the sounds of what we've heard so far from the drivers coming in and having a run on Sunday night, everyone's going to be either learning as they go or putting in some sim time between now and then. So Indianapolis Sunday night could be full of incidents. So do tune in, folks. You won't be disappointed with what you see there, especially with 55 cars on track. Talk about traffic, fair income.
And slipstreams.
Yes. Our good mate Brock Payne, as Nick said at the top of the broadcast, out of hospital just to go racing with us tonight, in time to go racing with us tonight, I should say. Not just he got lucky. He was unable to join us in the chat room, but Nick's got some news and information from the great man.
Sorry, I just opened my phone. Just opened the message. Yeah, he's had to duck off. Still recovering from the hospital. Where are we, Brocky? Got turned around right before the yellow, and then on the restart. Oh yes, I was right behind him. On the restart, there was a guy doing about 1/3 speed through to the hay shed, and Brock picked the wrong side, careered into him, and nearly got me on the way through. So it was a big crash, and then I think he disappeared after that. Where did he finish? 20th. But he was doing quite well up to that point.
Indeed, he was, and he was showing promising form. He was leading the race at one point during the pit stop window as well. So we're sure that he'll bounce back nicely for next week. He'll probably be a little bit fitter as well for that. Never easy getting out of hospital and going straight back into the process. So no, we look forward to having him with us again next week. Predictions for next week. It's very hard to say who might win at Bathurst because everyone's predicting some form of carnage. So we're looking forward to that. Final recap of tonight. Carl Watmore by 1.3 seconds over Glenn Postlethwaite. Chris Whitaker in for third. He was only 0.2 of a second clear of Michael Schreier in the end. Sam Collins was charging them down in fifth spot. Then Trent Lavis, Ben Snell, Brendan Whitaker and John McLaughlin with Kane Baxter-Smith. Rounding up the top 10, Zane Hill's just outside, Kester Ward, Justin Ford, Nick Windsor, and our good mate Nick Go Pop making up the top 15 in all of that. Brendan Jackson, Adam Lavis, Paul Jansen, Anthony Visma, and Brock Payne rounded out top 20. 50 minutes, 11 seconds, the winning race time here. And what a night it has been. Just quickly too, Paul, I'll bring you back in because we were talking about earlier in the broadcast, Benny Snell, of course, grabbing the win in the production car race from Oran Park. We've got more production car racing coming up as a result of a calendar expansion, and it starts not with Bathurst next week, but the week after. We do a little bit of flipping and flopping, toing and frying between tracks that we've already been to. We've got Phillip Island, Oran Park, Alton Park, Road America, all coming back on the agenda, and a second trip to Bathurst as well. So more production car racing to look forward to.
Yeah, absolutely. So next week we're production car racing. We're back at Bathurst as well, so it's going to be a double header. So we're going to have the stock cars plus the production cars. So Mustangs at Bathurst next week, which will be great. So it'll be great. The guys have had a bit of experience now, so that track is, I think, synonymous with V8s. Mustang suits it. I think everyone enjoyed that tonight. So great content, I think.
Certainly will be, and it's a 60-minute race as well. So we'll have a little bit of a longer broadcast next week because the stock car race will most likely start a little bit later, or the production car race will start a little bit earlier. Yet to be confirmed on all of that, and there are a couple of longer races coming up. Oran Park is actually, judging by the information that I'm getting here, the next few races are all going to be longer than the 40 minutes enjoyed so far. And Lime Rock Park was the other track I was trying to think of there earlier as well. So looking forward to all of that. Monday night, of course, Road America GT action. If it's anything like what Daytona delivered, we will be in for an absolute treat. Of course, we've already had some Road America racing with the production cars this year, so GT's turn now, and that will be Monday night for you right here for the Gentleman Sim Racing Club on Doadrift Esports, and of course next Friday night at Bathurst double header. So so much forward to there. Who else? I'll come back to you for a quick comment here, Chris. We've had some great tracks so far in the stock car series. There's no questioning that. We're saving arguably the best till last, maybe not necessarily for the cars, but certainly in terms of the circuits that we revere. Are there any circuits within the iRacing system that you've looked at and thought, geez, the stock cars would go well there, that we haven't run at yet? There's a reason I'm asking you the question, but I'll save that for after you've answered it.
Yeah, there's two that I can think of. Obviously, Bathurst's going to be off the charts next week. I'm really looking forward to that. But just mentioned before, Road America, absolutely love that track. One of the greatest tracks in the world. So got to put that one down, and also Laguna. I reckon these things would be an absolute monster around Laguna. It'll be a handful, but yeah, keen to have a run around there.
All right, there's some homework for Nick to get to over the next short while. Cal Watmore just saying Mid-Ohio, real tracks they run at as well. So, yeah, there's something to consider there as well. I actually wouldn't mind, because and there's a reason I asked this, because we're expanding the production car series where Nick's suggested maybe some all-star races or some exhibition races for the stock car series. And we were trying to think about which circuits to go to, whether we revisit circuits or visit new circuits. And right there, Nick, you've got 3 in the bag, and I'm going to throw in a 4th as well, because the Brazilian stock car series runs at the Interlagos circuit in Brazil, and I reckon that would be an absolute I reckon that choice, absolute pearl. So so there's 4, and
at Oran Park, that'd be a cracker. They actually
really?
Really? Really? I wasn't going to say Oran Park.
You wouldn't get out of second gear.
Actually, do it. Exactly. These cars are tiptoey. That's the whole idea.
And I was actually going to yeah, that's true. I was actually going to suggest an oval if I was honest with you, or the Charlotte Roval was my other suggestion as well.
I think you should do an oval round, definitely.
Yeah. So
excellent call on Charlotte Roval. It actually works really well.
So we've got some suggestions there for Nick, and he can do some homework and come up with a plan for us. Sorry, Nick.
Maybe a double header, 20 minutes on the oval, 20 minutes on the Roval at Charlotte.
Can do that, yeah.
That wouldn't be a bad idea.
Ideas. So yeah, it's good.
Yeah, no, it's good. I just thought I like to brainstorm for you guys so that the homeworks are made a little bit easier for you.
Thanks, Zach.
Yeah, no worries.
I can make a left field suggestion. What about these things on dirt?
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's some ideas.
Yep, keen.
There's
They just take the plain oval trucks and put dirt tires on them and say good.
Yeah, exactly. It's the Eldora Speedway they go to, isn't it?
Yep, the one, and it's always a cracker. They really tiptoe and slide around and whack the fence, but they make it.
It would make for an interesting spectacle. There's no doubt about that. All right, Nick, there's your task for the next week. Come back to us with some racing, some calendar dates for because that way we can still have our double header on a Friday night. I like the sound of that, and by the sounds of it, everyone else here is keen for it as well. Final thoughts from all of you boys. Let's start with you, Chris, and we'll work our way around on the night that was and what the plan and plan of attack is for the next week in terms of your iRacing expedition.
Pretty well the same as every week, really. Just going to be stick quite a few hours in, a heap of practice in for Bathurst, and I think the story for Bathurst is just going to be avoiding traffic. There's probably a few, how do I put it politically correctly? A few whose driving was not quite desirable tonight.
Discussed it in Stuart's room, so we get that. It's all good.
Yeah, that's it. So, look, there was a little bit that was, left to be desired tonight. But,
sure.
Yeah, even so, there's obviously a fair disparity between, I guess, the front guys and the rear guys. So, coming across the slower guys over the top of the mountain, everyone's entitled to a race, don't get me wrong. But they're a handful to drive at the best of times, and I can see some fairly serious carnage up over the top at some stage. So, I think a lot of practice is going to be sort of... probably driving offline and just getting the hang of how hard you can push when you're not on Apex and see what happens from there.
For sure. No, it's going to be an interesting week as we prepare for these 3 big events, of course. Cal, what more your thoughts?
Let me see. Yeah. I don't know. I'll do a few practice laps with Chris, hopefully, and we'll work on learning what works on extracting speed out of the fixed setup and how to get around Bathurst.
Yep.
And just very happy with tonight again. And thanks so much to Nick, Rob, and yourself, Zach, for an awesome broadcast and series. Absolutely loving it. And I really hope we continue next season.
Yeah, no, that seems to be the intention from all and sundry at the moment. Exploits was the other word I was looking for, not expeditions. Jesus, it's been a long night. Hey, let's go. Trent Waves, is it lick the stamp and send it with these next 3, or are you going to put in any practice time whatsoever?
I might do 3 or 4 laps. That's probably more than I did tonight. So I literally haven't turned a lap in these cars around here until about 5 p.m., 5:30 p.m. So I'm pretty happy with my efforts. But I think Bathurst might be a little bit more tricky. I said I got a bit of a knack around there coming down the hill. But I think these cars are really going to throw a spanner in the works for everybody, not just me.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a hell of a lot of fun. I'm actually more concerned about getting through the chase cleanly than the top of the hill.
Yeah, good point. Yeah.
That's going to be very interesting approaching there at speed with drafting and etc. Like Chris said, getting used to being offline, see what happens.
Break at the start of the chase.
I was going to start braking at the bottom of the hill before you crown under the bridge, and then see what happens from there.
I was gonna say, for the benefit of the stock cars, it's actually a shame they didn't use the old school circuit without the chase in that panorama. But no, the chase.
Then you would be braking at the bridge.
Yeah, exactly right. The chase will
not the
certainly
Dunlop
start up.
Bridge, the one that's where
The one that's halfway down Conrad. Yeah, I gotcha. Yeah, absolutely.
We will do it after the race. Yeah, good spectacle for the broadcast. Those of you who know what we're talking about after the race.
Yes. Thanks to Carl Watmore. Thanks to all the other drivers that have been in here for the night. And what we should say too is these guys, they behave themselves very, very well when they come on the microphone here. I'd love to know what the chatter was like in the chat window tonight. Anyone care to elaborate on that for me before we go in the driver chat during the race?
Pretty good, actually. I think we've kind of coached most of our drivers that abuse and the foreign language online during the racing is kind of frowned upon, and I think everyone's pretty civil tonight. There's obviously good attention, but that's all what that's racing. So very good tonight. Really impressed with it.
I'll be perfectly honest. I know exactly what you're talking about. Paul, French has well been known to be my best subject for a long time. Yes. So, on that note, we're going to say au revoir to all these drivers here in the chat room tonight. And we thank them more so for giving up their time post-race, because it's a long night to commit to all the driving commitments associated with the series, but then to stick around free of charge and have a chat to us. We certainly do appreciate that. Of course, very different dynamics. The three cars, the stock car, to the Indy car, to the GT car, and hopefully the boys have been able to elaborate a little bit on that before we get underway on Sunday night. Of course, I'm particularly looking forward to oval racing. We haven't done that so far, so that'll be a lot of fun. And I mean, yes, they might joke about.
You get the names right.
Well, that's right. It's funny that they say, "Oh, it's just accelerate hard and turn left." But there's a bit more to Indianapolis than that, as we're going to find out on Sunday night. So, boys, have a great weekend. Get some nice rest over the next couple of days and hop into that simulator early on Sunday and put some time into it.
Thank you again, Zach, Rob, and Nico. Great broadcast again, as usual.
And thank you to you as well, Paul, for all your comments throughout the course of the night. On behalf of Paul, Rob, Nick, the entire production, commentary, broadcast team here associated with Doadrift Esports and the Gentleman Sim Racing Club, we say thank you so much for your company right throughout the course of the night. I'd feel bad because we've got through all the broadcast and you've seen it there on your screen, but we haven't said it yet. LJ Hook again down Central Coast Subaru. A big thank you to all of you guys and all the other people that help support not only the Gentleman Sim Racing Club, but also the broadcasts associated with it as well. Sunday night, 7 o'clock, Indianapolis 250, Nick's birthday bash. Yes, we've acknowledged his birthday from May 18 when we had the GT series coming your way. This is the actual birthday celebration, so everyone's going to crack out the coldies and enjoy that. We might even have a cold one on standby ready to enjoy in the post-race. And, of course, the famous milk will be there ready for the winner as well. In fact, is it dairy or skim for you people? We'll find out on Sunday night. Looking forward to all of that. Yeah, full cream me as well. 100%. Look, that's it. We hope you've enjoyed it. Monday night, don't forget to join us from around 8:15 Eastern time. That's when we go GT3 racing, GT4 racing. It was a cracker last week at Daytona. It is setting up to be an absolute rip snorter when we get to Road America. And if we can lock out the field at Daytona, we'll have a capacity grid at Road America as well. Longer track, a little bit more room to move should be good fun. And then, of course, next Friday night, we go from the longest road course in America to the longest road course in Australia. 6.213 kilometres of mountain magic, Mount Panorama, for the double header. So yes, we had an Australian double header tonight. We've got an Australian double header next week, but it's at the same circuit. No jumping on planes and trains halfway through the broadcast. We're at Mount Panorama for the duration. The production car series first up as per usual, then the stock cars, and we cannot wait for that stock car champion crowned next Friday night. Production car series going a little bit further, as we've detailed already here. And we hope you're enjoying the Gentleman Sim Racing Club action that we've been bringing you here on Doadrift Esports, and that you'll continue to enjoy it now that we've expanded the program. And hopefully there's more of the same to come later in the year. But of course, we've all now got our fingers crossed, me particularly, for the return of the real stuff. And on Sunday night, Monday night, we'll actually have a chat to some of these drivers. And we've already heard from people like Xander Antoni earlier in the broadcast how they're preparing for the return to the real world in terms of what work's being done on their race cars and everything else. Wanted to touch on that tonight, didn't end up having time to do so. But yeah, that's certainly at the forefront of all of our minds now, particularly mine, because while ever the Premier continues to hold us captive and not open the borders, we're waiting for dates to be confirmed for when we can go back racing. I'm hearing July here in Queensland, which is good news for all you gentlemen here in the chat room at the moment, but nothing set in concrete as yet. It's a little bit frustrating because New South Wales has the AASA sanctioned race meeting coming up on what would have been Le Mans weekend, June 13, 14. So why aren't we back on track before July? Only certain people can answer that, and I'm not those certain people. That's it from us. We'll continue to enjoy the sim racing. In the meantime, it's been delivering some absolute rip snorters over the last couple of weeks, particularly the GT racing and the stock car racing tonight. The production car race wasn't bad either. There were a few battles going on right throughout there as well. Hope you've enjoyed our broadcast. Again, on behalf of the Doadrift Esports team, we'll throw it back to Rob to wrap things up. I'm Zach Caban. We'll see you Sunday night, not Monday night, Sunday night, ladies and gentlemen. Special Sunday night motorsport edition for the Gentleman Sim Racing Club as we hit Indianapolis. Look forward to your company then.
Thank you very much, Zach. This is Robert Hazeldine from Doadrift Esports signing off. As Zach said, we will see you again on Sunday. I'll put some information up about that on the Facebook page and the Twitter feed, so check it out there. Thank you very much and have a great night.
Houston, if you're ready, we'll maneuver. Reaching out. Rainbow Road.
and no moment in history where I could stand and say, Old British begins here, now.